Brother Mike Clark. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir. I sure can. What can I do for you?
This is Dana Jenkins from
Hi, Dana.
Louisiana.
I see you down there in the corner. How are you?
Yeah, I'm doing really well. I heard you talking about COVID. I'm a COVID survivor from September, and I did really well with it. I didn't have any of the classic symptoms, just no fever, no lack of taste or smell.
Welcome
I
to
did really well with it. I just
Good.
felt a little tired, that's all.
Well, that's
But,
good.
Came out pretty good. I was very lucky. The doctor told me, he tested me. I had
You are
no
now
idea.
paired. Enjoy.
So, but it's good to see you. We've talked several times, and I'm looking forward to this midterm governing board meeting that we're having today.
Well, you know, this is great. Yeah, we've talked quite a few times. It's always good to be able to see people. You know, Brother Jerry, President, I hope you get your 100 in Sioux City, but we're certainly may have a good chance of having 100 here at the mid-year via Zoom. So that would be a first as well. I think you broke all the records for a mid-year already.
Yeah, about 140 signed up for this meeting today. So we've got our 100 today. I think maybe I'll just take that and say we made the record.
Gary, you have an echo.
Yeah, that's because Bill Hartman is right next to me. Suppose I turn mine off and we'll just listen through Bill's speaker.
That's right.
One speaker at a time. Janet, what are you doing in our meeting?
Checking on. I thought we were muting Bill.
I am so far.
So what's the problem? Where's the echo from?
You have to click if you want to talk and say hello. Good morning. How are you?
Move that, you'll lose your toasters.
I said,
You'll lose toasters are holding it up.
sit down there.
Changes the angle of your screen.
Let's get in YouTube.
There's John Hable.
So Jerry, this is Chuck Schubert from California. I haven't seen you for a while. Why am I all gray now and you still look good?
Nice to see my friend.
Hey,
Never
Chuck.
get a chance to get back there anymore.
Chuck Schubert, how you doing?
Chuck Schubert, who's talking?
Jonathan Dilly.
There, Jonathan. Hey, I was wondering, I was looking for you there, Mr. PIP. How you doing?
Doing good. The newest member of the Pips.
Yeah.
Dilly.
Dilly.
Hey.
Kevin, I can't get my camera to work.
Nothing I can do about that. That's a technical side on yours.
No. Good morning, brothers.
Morning.
Morning.
Hey,
Evening.
Jerry, if Eric
Good evening.
Convention.
Virtual evening.
Is he there?
Climb back.
You know, it's just that's Eric's background is okay.
Is Eric's background okay?
He should put it under chat.
My apologies.
Does anybody with an iPhone know how I can restart my video?
If you're having trouble with your video, go down to the top, tap your screen. Are you on an iPhone?
Yeah, I am.
Okay, tap your screen and look at the bottom, and there'll be a mute, unmute icon, and right next to it, there's a little camera that says stop video. Tap that and see if we can see you.
I don't have anything on the bottom. All I've got, well, I can't tell you what I've got, obviously, but I've got my microphone. Your microphone is muted. Your video is stopped speaking. A little round button that says speaking and done speaking. And that's the only thing I've got on the screen.
Okay. Well, mine, it's got the microphone that says mute and unmute, and right next to it, there's a camera that says stop video. I don't know why you're having problems getting your picture up.
That's okay. I can't even get on my computer, so I've got problems today.
If you dialed in on the phone number, you're not going to be able to run video.
Oh, is that? Well, I did.
Right.
I went
That's
through
probably
the internet
why.
to get in.
Did you get in on a Zoom app with a meeting and a
did.
passcode?
I did.
Okay. Did you enter a meeting ID number and a passcode?
I did.
Okay. I don't know why we can't see you.
I did do all of that. I put the
Uh-huh.
meeting and passcode, all that on there, but I don't either.
I did want to recognize our brother from Bulgaria.
I guess that's okay though. At least this way I don't have to have my pants on. Hi, Ron.
For the iPhone user, you may have to go up to the settings and then select whether you have your video on or off and the microphone on and off. But it's under the settings, meeting settings.
Jerry, somebody wants to say hi. Jerry. Hi, George. Jerry. Hello.
I hear you knocking.
Hi, everybody.
Hello.
You're waving at me.
Leslie survived cancer. Stage 4 tongue cancer.
Wonderful. It's nice to have a pretty girl at our meeting.
Oh, well, George says my hair looks terrible, so I'm gonna change it for you guys, okay? Hang on.
You look good to me.
Hello, Sid.
How does this look?
Well, greetings.
How you doing?
Much better.
Better?
Looking good.
I thought so too. I love you guys, miss you all.
We love you too.
Take care, be safe.
You too.
I guess we're just,
Well, we're 2 minutes from the appointed hour and we have 70 participants.
Should I hit my start video?
You better mute yourself first.
That sounds pretty good, 70.
Now we're about 50%.
Oh.
How many is on?
70.
Had 120 something.
I want to do a little testing here to see if you hear an echo.
yep, we do.
Yep.
About now. Do you have an echo now?
Yes.
On this side, if you go on that, you'll see the other people.
Is it red light on?
I'm okay. They keep changing screens here.
It is red.
Sid just came on.
It's me, your friendly iPhone user. At least I found a picture, but the background is my cat. And I can't seem to change that. See my kitty?
Yeah, all right.
Brethren and high 12ians all, it is 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. And it's my responsibility to call to order this winter meeting of High 12 International. Now I ask Kevin if you can hear me. How's the echo?
It's still there. There.
Turn down your speaker, Jerry.
Got mine turned off, and I got Bill's turned on. I'll see if I can turn Bill's speaker down.
Well, it's not the speakers so much as you probably got two audios, two microphones.
So you're probably speaking and then your voice comes out of Bill's speaker and goes back into your microphone.
I said,
Getting technical assistance to adjust Bill's speaker.
Hi, Jim.
Hey, how are you today?
John Robbins, are you in there yet?
I'm here.
John Robbins from Kansas.
John's always late. Yeah, I'm here.
Yep, I'm here and I can hear you. Good.
Good morning, John Habel.
Good morning. How are you?
Very fine day here in Susquehanna Valley.
Well, I see we have 75 persons who are part of this meeting. I certainly do welcome each of you. This is the best attendance we've had at one of our winter meetings since I've been attending these last number of years. And I'm pleased that we have persons online from Arizona and New York and Michigan and Pennsylvania, Florida, and all places in between. So thank you very much for being here with us today. I have sitting next to me the international chaplain of our High 12 organization. In just a minute, I'm going to call upon him for an invocation. But for the purpose of this meeting, I think it's unnecessary for us to stand up for the Pledge of Allegiance. But for the invocation, Reverend Hartman and I will ask you to join us in bowing our heads. Reverend Hartman, are you unmuted? Okay.
Let us pray. Heavenly Father, we give you thanks for this day. We give you thanks for the interest that these members have in their devotion to International High 12. We give you thanks for the leadership of our president and officers. And we ask, oh God, that you will continue to bless us through this meeting that we have. And we bless you for all that you have done for us and through us. And we ask in your most holy name to continue your blessing. Amen.
So mote it be.
So mote it be.
Now I've appointed as Eric Kleinbach of Florida. He's going to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. We'll remain seated, but we'll place our hands over our hearts.
I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the
United States of America and to the
republic
for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, liberty, justice for all.
And then that was the sound of 80 patriots giving the Pledge of Allegiance to our flag. I'd like to point out to you that in my Masonic jurisdiction, at this time, we're not allowed to sing. we can't sing the national anthem, even when we meet together. But I want you to know that there are 4 verses to our national anthem. And the 4th verse goes like this. And thus be it ever, when free men shall stand,
I got it.
their loved homes and the war's desolation. Bless the victory and peace of our heaven rescued land. Praise the power that has made and preserved us a nation. And conquer we must, when our cause it is just. And this be our motto. In God is our trust. And the star-spangled banner in triumph doth wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave. I'll call on past International President Winton Hewitt to give the toast to the flag.
Use Eric Kleinbach's flag. If you look at that as I do the toast to the flag. What can I say to you, old flag? You're so great in every fold, so linked to mighty deeds of old, so calm, so still, so true. My heart thrills at the very sight of you, old flag. And there you stand with colors bright, that I think it's only right, that though you neither brag nor boast, bring to you this heartfelt toast. A toast to the flag by John Jefferson.
Hurry up and make this meeting unboring before I leave it.
To the red of it. There's not a thread of it, no, nor a shred of it, and all the spread of it, from foot to head. But heroes bled for it, face still and lead for it, precious blood shed for it, bathing it red. Here's to the white of it, thrilled by the sight of it. Who knows the right of it, but feels the might of it through day and night. Womanhood's care for it, made manhood dare for it. Purity's prayer for it keeps it so white. Here's to the blue of it, beauteous view of it, heavenly hue of it, star-spangled dew of it, constant and true. Diadems gleam for it, states stand supreme for it, liberty's beam for it brightens the blue.
Yeah.
Here's to the whole of it, stars, stripes, and pole of it, body and soul of it, oh, and a roll of it, sun shining through. Hearts in accord for it, clear by a sword for it, thanking the Lord for it. Red, white, and blue.
Thank you, Brother Winton, and thank you, Eric. I love that background that you selected for us. Thank you for letting me check that out. You both did good this morning. Now we're going to ask, we now have 80 participants signed in. This is a very large Zoom meeting, and I'm going to ask every participant to mute their, so that only the speaker is talking. When it's time for you to speak, you can unmute yourself and speak up. But in the meantime, we'd like you to be muted so we don't hear your television, your dog, or your wife telling you exactly how. I'm now going to introduce you to our new International Secretary. Tom Burthington of Philadelphia has signed on to be our International Secretary, and I'm going to ask him to call the roll. Brother Tom?
Thank you, Mr. President. Jerry Hamilton.
Present.
Mike Haxton.
Present.
Mark Noakes.
Here.
Rick Santella.
Present.
Kevin Hokirk Robinson.
Present.
Jonathan Dilley.
Present.
Walter Williams, past state president. George Kahn. James Davis.
Here.
John Corelli.
Here.
William
Here.
Short.
Here.
John Robbins.
Here.
John Baker. Kenneth Simmons Jr. Frank Swallow. Tom Hagen. Harry Beers.
Present.
Thanks for bringing Frank Galindo. I'll put that in there.
Frank is not here.
Candidate for the independent clubs.
Deputy Keith for any closing remarks he may have.
Brother Secretary, Walter Williams is on the call. He's just muted.
Brother Secretary, the state president of Colorado now is James Woodard, Woodyard.
Brother Secretary Ken Simons, the president of Michigan, is on the call as well.
Ken Simons.
I certainly hope this virus gets over pretty quick. I'm getting mine.
Yes, Ken
next
Simons.
week. I hope everyone who's eligible can get that shot and hopefully end this thing. I just want to mention on the brother.
Can we mute can we mute, please?
That's one way in which we maintain contact with our members during the time when we can't
Somebody-
invite them to a lot of stuff.
Someone's speaking about
Don't
COVID.
see them first. I'm very pleased that all 5 valleys have taken an active part in making a lot of calls. I mean, overall,
Whoever's on the Scottish Rite call, you need to mute your,
calls and about to 3,900.
I think it's Eric.
That's really pretty good. I think special recognition ought to go to Fort
We
Wayne.
hear your call, Eric.
Shoulders
The
above
host
every
can
other
mute him.
Yeah, the host can
Yeah, I'm
mute.
trying to find him.
calls, up to 654 people.
None under Eric.
Also Indianapolis, who also makes quite a few calls. In December and January, they had over 200 people that they talked to, which is really pretty fantastic.
200. Can you believe that? Wow.
Valley, I think, need better contact information. My own valley, South Bend, we had over 1,000 calls, but only 85 contacts.
that's a good report on South Bend, Indiana.
Okay, he's now muted.
Very good. I counted 14 of our voting members present. We need 11 for a majority, so I declare that we have a quorum. Brother Tom, continue with the roll call of the independent clubs.
Tom, you're muted.
Brother Secretary, continue with the roll call of the independent clubs.
Number 105, Louisville Downtown. 298, Arnold Page.
Here.
Number 576, District of Columbia.
Present.
Number 729, First Essex. Number 730, Maine's First. Number 749, Kyoto KNF Masonic. Number 781, West Hawaii. California clubs. Missouri clubs. New Jersey clubs.
Present.
We have 3 present, Mr. President.
Good. Call the roll of past international presidents.
Clifton Bingham. Ralph Clemmer.
Present.
Stanley Gardner. William Meyer. Roger Hanson.
Present.
Mervyn Harris. Sid Lulan.
Alive and well.
Thank goodness.
Donald Whistler. James Parker IV.
Present.
Winton Hewitt.
Present.
Jerry Seville, Ronald Woods, William Haynes, Jonathan Dilly.
Present.
Mr. President, we have 6 past international presence present.
Good. I'm very pleased you fellas are here. We need advice from you fellas, and we thank you for your service in the past and your continued faithfulness to our I-12 International. Now, at this point in our agenda, we usually have the reading of minutes. Very interesting, the reading of minutes. Many Masonic organizations have the reading of minutes, and they never ask for the approval of those minutes because it would not be possible for the persons attending the meeting this year to approve the minutes of last year when they weren't even there last year. Well, in this case, none of us were there last year because there was no annual convention due to the pandemic. There were no any minutes. So we went to our general counsel that we had at that time, and he suggested that the progressive officers should advance one level, and the office of the third vice president, if it's uncontested, should be elected along with the secretary and treasurer. The endowment trustees shall rotate as normal with 1-year position to remain open. So because there were no minutes, and these things were done by, suggested by a general counsel and put forward by your executive committee and put into place, including myself as your international president, uninstalled perhaps. We would like to have your approval of these actions as directed by a general counsel and approved by our executive committee. So I would entertain a motion at this time to accept these items that have been done since our June 2020 meeting that did not take place. I'll entertain such a motion.
So moved.
And a second?
Second.
There is a second.
Lost the picture again.
All those in favor, wave at me. Wave at me. All right.
Second.
I see you all waving. Okay, that's good. And those opposed, put your hand behind your ear. Nobody did that. All right. I wasn't going to tell you where to put your hand, but behind your ear to keep you out of trouble. I'll call upon our first vice president, Michael Haxton, to give a life membership proposal update.
The only update right now is that I'm working on it to put it into proper form for our annual meeting coming up in, hopefully with all of our fingers and toes crossed, Sioux City in June.
Really good. Thank you.
You all have copies of it in your last couple of magazines.
There's a lot there to read and to understand, and I hope everybody gets
I'm trying to get my picture up, but now I lost.
Many of our I-12 organizations, many of our Masonic organizations allow for a life membership, particularly those organizations that charge small amounts of dues. Very convenient to
When
pay
you get in down the bottom, it's like a little thing and it'll say video.
No, it says invite.
That's better. So we're going to vote on that at our June meeting. So I hope those of you that haven't had an opportunity to look at it, it's been published in the I-12ian. It is also available on our website, and see what you think of having a life membership in I-12 International. Under new business.
It is not on the
Not on the website, just in the magazine. Thank you.
Well, and it needs to be presented today as a bylaws amendment to move forward.
Okay.
Parliamentarian, would you agree?
Yes.
Okay, then. Mike Haxton, I'm going to leave it up to you to bring this, to make a motion.
I so moved, but we did approve it on our last midterm to go forward.
But the convention was not held.
Okay, then I so move.
Second.
Second.
Read the motion, please.
Mike, could you read the motion, please?
I move that we approve the life membership program as published, with the exception of future alterations to get it in a proper form to be an amendment. How's that?
Handsomely done, Mike. Thank you.
Okay, and now is there a second?
Second.
Okay, you've heard the motion duly made and seconded. All in favor, wave at me. I see those hands. Those opposed, put your hand behind your ear. Nobody put their hand behind their ear. So ordered,
I
Brother
did.
Secretary.
It is not unanimous.
Not unanimous.
Not unanimous.
This past 12 months, your international association has had 3, if not 4, secretaries. We have had a difficult time getting the right man to fill that position. Someone who had the time and the opportunity and the ability to do the kind of work that Kevin has been doing for about the past 15 years. On July 26th of this year, we received the resignation of our secretary, Don Joe of California. Don Joe is very active in the Scottish Rite in California and has a number of things going for him and was unable to continue to be our international secretary. At the same time, in order to continue as an organization, we were able to get our past secretary, Kevin Hokirk Robinson, to step in again as an interim secretary until a replacement could be found. The board on November the 2nd ratified my appointment of Thomas Brothington of Philadelphia to serve the unexpected term of secretary of our international. Now, you've met Tom this morning as he took role, and you'll hear more from him later in this meeting. He is very capable and able to serve very well in that job, and I'm so pleased to have him on board. But I think what I'd like to have at this time is your approval of what the executive committee has done since our last meeting on accepting the resignation of Don Joe, appointing Kevin Hokirk Robinson as interim, ratifying the appointment of Tom Brothington as of November the 2nd. Is there such a motion?
So move.
And is there a second?
Second.
I'll ask for no discussion, but ask for all in favor to give me a wave. I waved. And those opposed behind the ear? The motion carries, and so ordered, Brother Secretary. It's time for correspondence, and our secretary, Tom, has received a couple of resolutions, and I'll call upon him now to read those.
Thank you, Mr. President. Let's see, the first one is for a bylaws amendment about the minimum required number of Masons to form a club, and will be taken up under new business. The second resolution is for High 12 member bylaw amendment to increase the annual per capita, which will be taken up under new business. Also, I'd like to announce that we've received 2 letters of interest with corresponding support letters, 2 for third international vice president, and 1 for the endowment fund trustee. That's all I have.
Thank you, Tom. We'll discuss these things later under new business, and we'll ask the membership to vote. International officer verbal reports. These are addition to the written reports. I wonder how many of you have received written reports in the mail? Members of the executive committee, have you received them?
Via email, not US mail.
Email, right. So we have received those, and we'll call and we'll ask the members of the executive committee first to talk about additions to those written reports. And it starts off with the vice presidents. I don't see when the president talks about his. So I guess it starts off with Vice President Mike Haxton. Do you have anything to offer in addition to your written report?
Well, there's really not much to tell right now because of our famous pandemic. We haven't been able to go too many places. There is one thing that I have been discussing in Kansas with some of the Grand Officers of the Grand Lodge, and that is where you find a lodge of Masons that are going under because they just don't have enough members. They're too old. They can't drive at night, whatever the situation is. We're talking about creating high 12 clubs in those cities so they can still have Masonic intercourse with each other without having to drive 50 miles to their new lodge. I think if this goes through, this would be a good way to keep Masonry in a lot of towns where the lodges are having problems. So you might want to take that home with you and talk to your grand lodges, because unfortunately, as we know, there's been a trend against all fraternal organizations for some time. And this might be something that we can do to keep Masonry alive and well in some of those smaller cities. That's basically the only extra I have on my report.
Appreciate it, Brother First Vice President. I do see that the president was supposed to say something here, but I'll do that after Rick speaks. For now, we'll call upon Mark Noakes in Illinois to say if there's anything to add to his report.
No, there's not really anything to add to my report. The main thing is I think we all owe Brother Kevin a round of applause for stepping up again, for assuming the role of secretary again and stepping back out. We owe that to him. Thank you for doing that. The only thing I would ask everybody on here, in Illinois, we have the opportunity to meet live and use Zoom at the same time and have hybrid meetings. And what I'd recommend to all the members on here, especially the state presidents, that you learn how to use this social media going forward, and you may get a higher attendance rate than you get usually at your meetings. My report's in there. Thank you, Mr. President.
Sounds good to me. And our third vice president, Rick Santella. Every time I see you, you're in a different room in your house, Rick. How about we'll take a report from you?
Thank you, Mr. President. What I'd like to add, in addition to the report I wrote, is that I keep stressing in my articles and anytime I visit any of the clubs, whether it was in person when allowed or through Zoom, is get back to the basics. Now is a perfect time to start reaching out to members who have been dormant for whatever reason, or Blue Lodge members, and we're starting to see some really good, solid results. The club that we're starting up in Pennsylvania had to delay their opening until at least February because of COVID. But in the meantime, the charter members were working diligently, and I last heard that they have almost 30 members ready to sign up for a new club now, because the charter members are going around talking to a lot of members, getting back to the basics, and discussing why High 12 is the place to be. Thank you.
Brother Rick, where will that new club be located?
They're looking to open it up in Bucksmont in the VFW hall.
Very good. Thank you. All right. The president was supposed to say something in addition to his written report. A short written report of 1 page, but there's a lot on my heart and there's a lot on my mind about High 12 International. I'm concerned very much about Freemasonry in general and this COVID-19. I'm under the opinion that men do things by habit. They go to church because it's their habit. They go to lodge meetings because they have a habit of going on a certain day of the month to lodge meetings. They give money to charities because it's their habit to give to certain charities. But once a habit is broken, amended, put aside, or forgotten, those habits are very hard to come back to again. I'm afraid that our churches if they don't have a revival, that we'll see fewer persons attending. And our lodges, which sometimes have 10% or less than their members attending a meeting of the lodge, that figure could go down. We are in a wonderful position in High 12 to make sure these things don't happen, because High 12 can be the social arm of Freemasonry. And if each of our members would invite another to come out to one of our luncheon meetings and partake of the fellowship that's possible through High 12, and at those meetings, if we talk about what's happening in our lodges, chapters, councils, commanderies, and Scottish Rite, and all of our Masonic organizations, we could see to it that we come out of this COVID-19 with all flags flying and all sails set and full in the breeze. And so I call upon all of our members to do this very thing, to strengthen High 12 and let it be the savior of Freemasonry. It is a tool for Freemasonry as it is. And we hope that that you'll take this to heart and help to grow both our own international and keep our fraternity of Freemasons alive and well in the coming times. That's all I have to say at this time. I want to introduce you again to our International Secretary, Tom Brethington, for his remarks.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'd just like to thank everybody for giving me the honor to serve High 12 International and serve the clubs. I look forward to working with you all. And some of my goals I've set, I like to update the website, maybe add it a little bit more to it, make it a little bit more user-friendly and add some more information for the clubs. So that way, when you're traveling, you can reach out to them and maybe visit their clubs while you're there. I'm always available by email. So if any of you or your members have any questions, feel free to email me at secretary@high12.org. Thank you again, Mr. President.
Thank you, Brother Tom. And now our long-serving Secretary and Present Treasurer, Kevin Hocook Robinson. Do you have anything to add to your report?
Not a whole bunch, other than I would like to thank Tom for his willingness to accept the position of secretary. It's been a pleasure to work with him. He is interacting very well with the clubs. I hear back from them. He does answer the phone, although with him working, it's not immediate, but he does get back to people. He is filling orders. He's doing the things that a secretary should do. And I commend him for that, because he's had a lot to learn. And I still share a lot with him. I'm available to him if he has any questions. Other than that, I really don't have anything else to add at this time.
Well, Brother Kevin, I'm going to call on the association presidents for verbal reports. Is there anything that you could say for Arizona?
Well, I know Walt Williams was on the phone.
Oh, I had him
on the call. He was muted.
Kevin, I unmuted myself.
Good.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Go for it.
Yeah, it's just out of politeness, I had myself muted. But as far as for Arizona, we are starting to have some of our meetings again. In fact, I was just at a meeting yesterday, and of the 12 members, we had eight in attendance.
Yeah,
and it went well, and overall, we're doing well. I know at least 2 of us had COVID and made it through. Myself and a friend of mine, and we did lose the wife of one of our members due to COVID. But other than that, we're doing well. I believe there's only one club that it has not been able to restart due to the restrictions that are placed on them. But the others have been doing well, and I've been able to get out. There's still a couple more clubs I need to meet.
Thank you, Brother Walter. Thanks for a good report.
Thank you.
Now, I understand that Colorado, we have a new state president replacing George Kahn, and that's Woody.
That's James Woodard. And
James
right
Woodard.
now, today, unfortunately, the Grand Lodge of Colorado is having their state communication. So I believe he is a senior warden at his lodge, so it's mandatory for him to attend that Grand Lodge meeting.
Well, the power granted to me as your international president, I forgive him. From representing Florida is our friend Jim Davis. Jim, what do you have for us?
Hi, Jerry. We've got three or four clubs that are meeting in person, and we've got a couple others that are meeting by Zoom. We've started a new club down in Fort Myers, and we're getting ready to start a new one in DeLand. I think it's all ready to go. Our past president, Eric, was all over the state last year. I'm gonna let him fill you in on that because the list was just so long. He was at district meetings. He was at official visits from the Grand Master. He was all over the place. He recently forwarded me some information on a daylight lodge, which is closing up, which we might be able to convert to a high 12 club. I'm going to start my official visits next month and go through the year on those. And we're looking forward to having a good year. We're going to try to build the association in Florida. Eric, would you like to fill in on anything on that?
Jim, you pretty much handled most of it. We do have a potential for a new club in the Keys, one in Miami and one in Venice as well. By making appearances and, in Florida, we wear a green jacket as a state line officer. People see us, they recognize us, they appreciate us, and they're happy to see that we still exist. And they say, well, how come you don't have a club near me? It says, let's get one going. And that's part of the reason Jim and I are putting together the resolution to lower the membership so we can take some of these independent members that are part of the President's Club. Part of the thing that when past international president Jonathan Dilley came through, he was telling how he's bringing all those international people on board without an actual club. If we can find 7 or more in an area, we can get them to form a club. That's our hopes. And we think that if we can get it to pop in Florida, we can get it to pop nationwide, worldwide.
Good report. From Illinois, President John Corelli.
All right, I'm unmuted. Due to the pandemic, of course, we've had limited activities, but we did have a very nice meeting, annual meeting in August. There was a minimal attendance, but I had a very fortunate occurrence. I invited a non-Mason friend of mine to join us because the Medina Shrine Center could not accommodate us for the dinner. So he brought us to the Medina Country Club, and we all collected the money. We expected to have to pay for the meal. When we went to pay for the meal a couple of weeks later, my friend picked up the whole bill.
Wonderful.
So we voted to take that money and give it to Walcott. And so it's a little over $1,000 was donated to Walcott. So I think that was a major achievement for Illinois. Thank you for the time.
Good report. Thank you. Representing the state of Indiana is William Short. Brother Bill?
Thank you, gentlemen. We've had our state association meeting already this month. We're looking forward to, of course, a lot better year than we've had in the past. Our clubs are starting to meet again. Indianapolis has moved its location, so it's doing a little better since we've moved, and we're in between a lot more lodges that way, and we can build that. But we're looking forward to a better year statewide, and we'll adjust and do what we have to do.
Thank you. The president of the Kansas Association of High 12 Clubs is John Robbins.
Thank you, Mr. President. A couple other members here have alluded to what we've been doing. Along with what Mike Paxton has mentioned in the Grand Lodge and using the High 12 format or structure. into getting lodges out in western Kansas that have closed to get a high 12 format to get the members back together, or at least keep their presence. Last year, we programmed that looked like it was starting to work pretty good. Because of our open session that we don't have opening and closings, that are formal, we've invited people that are non-Masons. Wives to a lunch. We meet on the third Thursday of each month at a Denny's restaurant. What it did is it put a face on Masonry. In our club, we have members of Scottish Rite, Shrine, various other Masonic organizations. So that you can put a face on Masonry. If they have a question about one of the other appendant bodies, we're able to answer them. One of the wives has joined Eastern Star because she had a member in her family that had been at Eastern Star back, way when, and mentioned it. We checked her out, and she is signed up to join. So, in essence, we can become a springboard, which has happened for the lodges and for other appendant bodies to get people in off the street. Because of our format of being informal, people are a lot more comfortable. Our club buys a lunch for the person and their spouse, and just basically converses with them, on an informal basis that, hey, you got a question, you want to know about us? We've got representatives that can answer a question about a particular Masonic body. So far, our lodge has gotten 2 of the members that we brought in, and I've mentioned it to Shrine and Scottish Rite meetings that I go to, is that we are available. If you've got somebody that's interested in Masonry, let us know. We'll invite them in and, set them down and just, have a chat with them. In essence, it's not as much pressure. Now, in our Shrine chapter, we have what's known as a rush night. Well, it hasn't been too successful in that it is utter confusion, is that you have somebody that doesn't know anything about Masonry comes in, and you've got the Shrine trying to bring him in, and then we got to get a Masonic body to bring him in, and it kind of turns into a mess because you got the clubs and units trying to recruit them also. So, but here in the high 12, we don't have that. We got an open meeting, relaxed atmosphere. They can ask questions at will, not be in a hurry. So it kind of working. We're starting to, at least I am anyway, starting to work more on that. Now, Mike Axon can probably brief a little bit more on what Kansas has done, but so far, from what I've been able to gather, that we're kind of hanging in there, doing all right. But there again, this pandemic has got some people totally scared. We have a couple members that barely will go out of the house because they think COVID's going to pounce on them in their driveway. So we just have to kind of deal with that. We did look at doing a Zoom type, but that really hasn't gotten off the ground. Our location, the Denny's restaurant, it'd be somewhat difficult to do that because we'd have to set up a camera and computer and stuff like that. But I think as probably time goes on, there might be something to consider. But there again, so far that inviting people in that are thinking about Masons, that we invited other lodges or bodies. If they got somebody's interested, send them over. They're welcome to attend lunch with us, with them, and basically get them in. So it's something we've got an advantage, and I think we can take a little bit more advantage of that or use of it. Getting new members also for Masonry, for ourselves too. But we've got to realize that we're all interlinked, and especially now, we all have to work together. We can't be the independent bodies that we once were, that we now have to start looking after each other. So that's my report, Mr. President.
Thank you, Brother John. Now, representing Michigan is Mike Clark's friend, Ken Simmons Jr.
Yeah, Michigan is kind of holding our own, this COVID deal. The governor yesterday said that we could start
opening the restaurants up. All of our clubs meet in restaurants now. And this COVID deal has got everybody scared. So we're going to have a tough time trying to get everybody to get back involved and get opened up and going again. So I think we'll pull through once we can start having our meetings again next month. So that's what we're hoping for.
Their hotel did not have.
Thank you, Ken. Now, everybody knows that I'm from Pennsylvania, so we've left Pennsylvania to be the last state association to report. You know, the last is always the best. And things are going to get better in the end. If things haven't gotten better yet, it's not the end yet. So we just have to wait for the end, things to get good. But I do want to call on my friend Harry Beers to give a verbal report from Pennsylvania.
Thank you, International President Jerry. It's good to see all of you this morning. I would like to say, yes, we've been hit with COVID. I think we were released for about 2 months where we could have actual meetings. We do have 2 clubs that have meetings every month, and they're very well held and represented. Valley Forge, Masonic Homes in Elizabethtown. In addition to what Rick said about a new club in Bucksmont, I was giving a talk at Whitfield Lodge in Nazareth, and I have enough members. I think I could start with there.
A lot of these hotels,
Holding our meetings at the Sawmill in Stockton. I'm real excited because the club closed about, I'd say 4 years ago. It was an Easter. So
Back to item D, other than what's planned there, is there any
I
further
did manage
comment
to have
out?
one meeting of an executive.
got an update on Liberty Bell in Pennsylvania.
I'm worried as you are, Jerry, about habits and people not.
And they had.
If I interrupt in a second, Reese Harrison, please mute your phone.
My
And they told me that they had.
Reese Harrison, please mute.
Let's see, they told me that this week, and that it should be arriving in our office any day.
Can't the host mute him?
You do not want to go anywhere
I can't
because the
find
fashion designer, Michelle Obama.
Alan, I got a question. Has anybody spoken to anyone from Ray Dinslow College?
Yes,
Reese
the grand
Harrison.
governor, the deputy grand governor.
Brother Reese Harrison of Texas, please
working on
mute
that.
your screen.
Problem was that
Brother Harrison.
gentleman who had been.
I found him finally.
Huh.
There.
Goodbye, Reese.
Sorry
As
for
I
that.
was saying, Jerry, I'm as concerned as you about people breaking habits. I know, well, once you stop doing something, it's hard to get back into it. So I hope it doesn't affect us that way. And we are working on new clubs, and Rick's working really hard with me to do that. So thanks for the time, and I appreciate being able to speak.
Thank you, Harry, and thanks for doing a good job in Pennsylvania.
Thank you.
Are there any independent club representatives who would like to give a verbal report?
Mr. President,
Mr. President.
if I may, Texas is represented here as well, the Texas Association. Our
Yes,
President
we've heard
Frank
from Reese
Galindo.
already.
I'm sorry?
We've heard from Reese Harrison.
Oh, no, he is not part of the state line, but Frank Galindo, who is our state president, could not be here today, but I'm the first vice president of Texas. So just a quick update on Texas. From as far as I know, our clubs are doing well. We have had interest from 3 new possible clubs, one in the Dallas area, one in Longview, and one in El Paso. Our state meeting will be May 8th, and Houston will be hosting the mid-year next year, as far as I know, and those dates are tentatively scheduled for January 21st to 23rd in Houston.
Go to Houston.
Yes, sir. So if all you guys want to mark your calendars, January 21st to the 23rd, Houston will be hosting this mid-year meeting. And that's what I have right now, Mr. President. Thank you for the time.
Look for me there.
President Jerry, this is
Yes.
Chuck from California. I just want to make sure I didn't get a chance to say here. We are an independent club, Red Buttons High 12, number 755. I know there's another California group on here, Oakland Club number 2. We have not had a chance to meet, and we're in Orange County. Our governor's shut everything down, including trying to go out and have a place to eat. So we're kind of stuck for a while. But overall, when we have our meetings, we average anywhere from at a low end 16 to 18 and a high end well over 20, 25. We have a lot of participation from young Masons. We invite them in. We also have the ladies, the Eastern Star members. So we've become one big, wonderful group meeting together with all of the different Masonic areas. When it comes back, hopefully in June, we'll be able to open again. I'm sure we'll run into the same thing everybody else has. Everybody will be a little apprehensive. Even the younger people have indicated that at this time to coming back, but we'll be working on that. And I'm sure that we'll once again meet again.
Thank you, Chuck. I like your background. Looks more like Hawaii than California.
It's actually raining in my cabin in the mountains, so I'm lucky. I'm staying inside.
You're doing the right thing. Is there someone to
Mr.
speak from the
President.
Oakland Club of California?
Yes, I'm here. I'm the secretary, treasurer, and we have been meeting before COVID, and we've had quite a good speakers. Yeah, from like the Bataan Legacy Marching Group to authors. So when we were meeting, we've had some excellent speakers. We're hanging in there. We want to keep club number 2 active. So we wish everyone the best.
Thank you so much. Is there another speaker from an independent club?
Yes, Mr. President. I can report from Washington, D.C. if you would like.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. President. For those who don't know us, we were a club that was chartered during COVID. So we were chartered in May 16th of this past year of 2020 by past International President Dilley. Cornerstone Club in Washington, D.C. We're proud that we have a number of current and former elected and appointed Grand Lodge officers in our club. Average age is in the 30s. So a lot of young active Masons in the District of Columbia. Because there is a high case rate in DC, and in fact, case rates of COVID are higher now than they were back in March, April when we shut everything down. We are still not meeting in person in the Grand Lodge of the District of Columbia, but we have had several meetings virtually via Zoom with all of our club members, including our chartering, including social meetings, including election and installation of new club officers. We've raised several $100s for the Walcott Foundation, and several of our members are now have declared their candidacy for High 12 international positions. So we're very excited about that. I just want to also say that we plan moving forward to continue utilizing virtual meetings as much as we can. And when we can come back in person, we will be inviting members, obviously, to meet at a restaurant in DC, as well as their spouses, both husbands and wives, boyfriends and girlfriends of our members, to come and have a good time. So thank you for the opportunity to form a club during a pandemic, and we are very much enjoying it.
Thank you, Adam, and welcome aboard. We're glad that you're with us. Another independent club representative.
Yes, Mr. President, Dennis Lacey from New Jersey.
Welcome.
And I'm happy to report that Mount Laurel 770 is still meeting. We don't have many members, but we're meeting at a restaurant, small restaurant, but that's okay. We get under 10 members, so we fall under the New Jersey limit for a meeting. And we're making plans that when this is over, that we're going to go out to the lodges and promote and try to get more members in, and maybe even build a couple more clubs in New Jersey, as we had talked about, you and I. Thank you.
Thank you for being with us. Independent representative.
Is anybody else ready to talk? I'll keep cutting me off there, Brother President. Yes, this is Arnold Page High 12 from the United Kingdom. We have been meeting virtually through Zoom since June of last year. We normally have an attendance of about 6 to 12 on average. Over the winter, we had 13 with several guests from the international organizations. We're doing quite well. Everybody is quite happy, capable of doing the Zoom meetings, and we're still doing all right. We have managed to raise enough funds through our club lottery fund and other donations from the Little Red Schoolhouse to make a donation to the Walcott Foundation this year. And also we have, from our last meeting in January, we have received one application for new membership. So we're hoping to, unlike America, the UK is in a complete national lockdown. Grand Lodge of the United Kingdom none of the Masonic lodges are meeting. The way things are going, there won't be any easing of restrictions until probably possibly March, maybe even longer. We're not. It's an unknown factor at this point in time. So because the virus situation is so severe over here, so that's. But we, as a club, we're still meeting virtually, and we're doing okay. Everybody's quite happy with that. Thank you, Brother President.
Thank you, Brother Darrell. I certainly didn't mean to cut you off. Tell me,
No.
Brother Darrell, where does the Arnold Page Club meet?
Well, prior to the lockdown last year, we have had to meet at a pub at one of the villages. For me, it's about 35 miles away. And it's a very small country pub and nice homely atmosphere. And we have a meeting, and then we have a social dinner in the dining room.
John Hammondtree is having some difficulty.
Yeah.
Thank you, Brother Darrell. Appreciate that good report.
Thank you.
Is there another independent club?
My name is Robert Thomas. I'm from Chambersburg, Pennsylvania, Franklin County High 12, number 726. But we haven't met for almost a year now because of the orders and so on. But I've taken many of the suggestions that you brought up today, and I've already sent an email out to suggest that we do Zoom and some other opportunities. But I wanted to bring up something that I think is very important. In 2026, the United States of America is going to have its 250th birthday. If there's such a thing as the birth of a nation, this is it. And 250 years is quite a celebration. The federal government has established an America 250 organization, and there's someone in every state. I was appointed to represent, I'm one of the representatives on America 250 PA, which is Pennsylvania specific. But I think we need to be given some consideration how we might get engagement in the celebration for the birthday leading up to it. And of course, that big day in 2026 on January 4th. I think it's an opportunity to increase the awareness of the clubs if they do some public events, those sorts of things. And I think it could do much more along the lines you were suggesting about the loss of people. We all know that Blue Lodges have been losing members for years. And I've already talked to the Grand Lodge of Pennsylvania. I'm very hopeful that we can start to turn this tide, and this may be an opportunity to help make that happen. So it's just a thought.
Thank you, Brother Bob. Hearing no further independent club representatives, I'm now going to call on Tom Bretherington to read the proposal for bylaws
Jerry?
amendments.
Jerry, I know there's a couple brothers on from Bulgaria, if they would like
I'd
to.
love to hear from Bulgaria. In English, please.
Yes, of course. Good evening, Brother Jerry. Dimitar Mandrjev here, and I think the immediate past Grand Master of our Grand Lodge is also on this Zoom meeting. And good evening to all the other High 12ians on this meeting. For some reason, I got my internet crashing, and I just joined like 15 minutes ago, but I think I know where you're at currently. In Bulgaria, I became a member, like, I think my documents actually came in like 2 or 3 months ago. However, the application form, I remember I signed it in mid-February during the Conference of Grandmasters of Masons in North America. We are planning currently to start the meetings whenever we get the authorities in our state and the legislators to open up a bit the restrictions that are currently imposed. And yeah, afterwards we'll start meeting, because first of all, we have a lot of ideas how to do these meetings, what guest speakers to have, and to spread the word about High 12 International in our jurisdiction. Thank you.
Thank you, Brother Dimitar. I'm so pleased that you were able to join us on this Zoom meeting. What time is it in Bulgaria?
Oh, it's a very nice Saturday evening, 7 p.m.
7 p.m. Well, it's getting close to my lunchtime, so we have to go on with our business. Almost 12 o'clock noon here. The proposed amendments to our bylaws, Tom Brethington, Brother Secretary, could you read the proposal?
Yes, Mr. President. For the governing boards, page 15 in your packet. Proposal for amendment to bylaws of High 12 International Incorporated. The purpose of the amendment is to make it easier for High 12 clubs to form. The current bylaw section to be affected is page 6, Article 1, Section 2, location. On page 6, Article 1, Section 2, it's to be amended as follows. Club may be organized wherever there are at least strike out 10 and make 7 Masons desirous of forming a club, provided that there's prior written consent from their Grand Lodge of the forming of the club. The jurisdiction where the club is to meet. Provided there is jurisdictional requirements is met, the club may be organized worldwide wherever there are at least strike out 10 and are 7 Masons. That was proposed by Brother Eric Kleinbach, State President of Florida, and Brother Jim Davis, First Vice President of Florida.
I'll entertain a motion to either approve or reject this change to our bylaws.
So moved.
Second,
I will second.
This is not a change. This is just a reading for this body to either approve or disapprove to move forward to the convention for a formal vote.
thank you, Brother Treasurer. Is there any discussion on this proposal?
Brother President, I think that the number 7 is very small. So you have no leeway if anything happens to those 7 members. I think it still should stay at 10. That's my opinion.
So
Brother-
when you're speaking as a
Brother
member-
President, I think it's a good move to move it to 7 because over the years, when new clubs have been formed in different areas, I've put my name on those clubs just to get it to 10. It was at 15 at one time many years ago.
Good point. Okay, we've
Mr.
had one.
President, may I make a comment about this?
Go ahead, Eric.
We've had several clubs try to start over the past couple years. They'd get 9, they get their 10, we get ready to go, somebody dies, somebody moves. And if we have 7, we have more than enough to fill the offices, and then they can start meeting, and then they can start inviting people to build it up. It's meant similar to be a minimum requirement just to get the wheels moving so that they can bring people somewhere to meet. When you have nowhere to meet for a year or two because you keep fluctuating between 5 and 9, it just makes sometimes they just get frustrated and put their hands up and give up. So the number 7 was chosen for the purpose of giving the club a chance, or reaching out to the members of the President's Club who don't have a club, going through the directory, finding 7 to 10 in an area, put them together to form a club. That's the idea behind it. Thank you.
Thank you, Eric.
Mr. President, just as a side note, the number 7 has Masonic meaning also. Just think about that.
Very good, very good.
We've had a number of speakers in favor of the proposal. Would anyone care to speak against the proposal? Hearing none, it's time to close the discussion. I think members of the executive committee know how to close the discussion.
Brother President, I'd move that the proposal moves on to the international meeting.
You tell me you're calling for the question.
Yes, sir, I am.
Very good.
I second that.
A proposal been made to call for the question. All in favor of calling for the question, raise their hand and wave at me. Thank you for the wave. Those opposed, put your hand behind your ear. Nobody did that. All right. In that case, the question has been called for. We'll ask again for the vote, and the vote will be to change our number necessary from 10 down to 7. And that motion has already been put on the floor and seconded, and we've called for the question. So now we're going to vote on the motion. All in favor, wave at me.
You vote on the motion.
We're voting on the
You have
motion.
to forward it to the,
We're voting on it to send it forward to the June convention. This will not go into effect until everybody gets a chance to vote on it in June. So I saw your waves and no hands behind the ear, and so the motion carries. So ordered, Brother Secretary. I scared Bill Hartman when I hit the table like that.
You woke me up.
I woke him up. Yes, I did. All right. Now we're going to
read the next one.
please do. Additional amendment.
Thank you, Mr. President. Proposal for amendment to update the bylaws for the International. The purpose of this one is to amend to ensure the longevity of High 12 International and the High 12 clubs. The current bylaws section effective will be page 22, Article 6, Section 2, article titled Amount Items number 1 and 3. Proposed is to add an increase of $5 to regular members and $3 to Masonic Home members. Bylaws to read. Section 2, number 1. Each club shall pay a High 12 International Incorporated annual dues, strikeout 10 to $15 to each active member. Section 2, number 3. The per capita dues for members of High 12 clubs are located in various Masonic homes sponsored by Masonic Grand Lodges shall be strikeout 2, enter $5 annually for the members who are residents of those Masonic homes. The full per capita due shall be due to any member of such club who is not the resident of the Masonic home. The residents of the Masonic home must maintain their membership in High 12 clubs located at that Masonic home, or if there is not a High 12 club located in the Masonic home, in the High 12 club located in that community where the Masonic home is located. Proposed by Brother Rick Santello, 3rd International Vice President, Thomas Brotherton, III, International Secretary.
Brethren, you see what we're doing here is we're raising the international dues. A proposal has been put forward. This proposal is very much like the previous proposal. It's up to us to vote today if this should go forward and be presented at our June International Convention. So I'll entertain a motion that this proposal be either accepted or rejected.
So moved.
And a second.
I'll second.
Second.
Good. Now we'll have discussion. Does anyone want to speak in favor of the motion?
I'd like to.
Thank you.
I'd like to just let the body know that it has been at least over 12 years since we've looked at this, and I know of no organization that can stay viable if you don't at least meet the cost of living increases, and that's all we're trying to do at this point. Thank you.
Thank you, Brother Rick. Would someone want to speak against the motion?
Mr. President, I don't necessarily want to speak against it, but maybe just a question of concern with it. May I proceed?
Go right ahead.
I know when some people go into the Masonic home, usually they write off everything they have to the Masonic home, and they may not necessarily have the means to maintain it. And I do know in Florida, we do not have a High 12 club within, I'm going to say within 30 miles of the Masonic home. And it may create an undue burden to have people drop off altogether if they're in the Masonic home. I believe in Florida, when someone goes there to the Masonic home, their dues are waived. I'll double check on that, but I was under the impression that once they get into the Masonic home, because they're not really able to go anywhere or do anything for the most part, most of them, they don't have the expendable income to contribute to something like that. Just a thought.
I would like to make a
That end of
motion.
it.
We have a motion on the floor at this time, and so we're discussing the motion that's already on the floor.
I was recommending an amendment to the motion.
An amendment. I'll hear an amendment.
If you are a member living in the Masonic home, that you be exempt from those dues, and that the rest of the membership would then basically pick up the slack.
Is there a second to the
Hey,
amendment?
hey, Jerry, John Habel, am I allowed to speak? I'm not a
Please
voting
do, John.
delegate.
We enjoy it when you say something.
Well, you know, the old days of turning over all your assets to the Masonic homes is no longer true, I think, anywhere, because a lot of courts have decided that that's illegal. Now, we do have probably members that are destitute living in the Masonic homes. But we know in the Masonic homes of Pennsylvania, a lot of people are there, and they're no longer homes, they're villages, at least in Pennsylvania. They got a ton of money and they're paying rent to Grand Lodge. And so just to remit everybody that's at a Masonic village dues, I think would be a mistake. But I would hope that a local organization, if they ran into somebody in that situation, would eat their dues somehow. I'm signing off.
I appreciate that, John. And Eric, I'll ask you to look into the Grand Lodge of Florida to see what is the situation. We know that that is the situation in Pennsylvania, that the folks there have an account, and the folks are attending meetings in Masonic homes and not having any trouble paying for their lunch and paying their dues. But I'd like to know the situation in Florida. So Eric, you look into that for us, and before we meet next June, so we know exactly this situation. Ready.
Brother Jerry, this is Kevin. To Florida, they did have a Masonic home club, and they were closed because of failure to function for a number of years, and they were just down to a couple members. In Ohio, the state association winds up paying, they donate money to the club to cover the dues. It's been $2 since the 1940s.
Thank you, Brother Kevin. Is there any further discussion?
Mr. President, Tom Brotherton. This isn't to raise the dues of the members. This is the per capita. This is what the club would pay to the international. If the club chooses to raise their dues to their members, it is up to them. This is just the per capita raise that's charged to the clubs for their members. They're not looking to hurt members either in the regular or in the Masonic homes. This is just an increase, again, just to ensure the continuance of High 12 International as well as the clubs themselves individually.
Thank you.
Mr. President?
Please.
Yeah, thank you, Jerry. Listen, guys, I really think that the point about sponsoring a club, for that matter, or a Masonic home is a wonderful, if not a spectacular idea. And if it ever moves forward with something that International wants to do, I will cheerfully underwrite as many members as I possibly can. The other question I do have in reference to the dues increase is, how many members do we have now?
1 second,
Thank
please.
you. I could give you an estimate, but I wanted to give the exact number.
Okay, we're sitting right at 3,000 members now.
Okay, which is about a third of where we were just a few short years ago or 10 years ago. I'm not saying that we need to triple our dues, but I would like to just at least plant the thought that when discussion does come up at the International Convention, that we do consider that 3,000 is not covering much of our nut whatsoever. And I realize that this year is very different from all others, but don't presume that it's going to last. We have to think about the future. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Sid.
Mr. President,
Yes, sir.
I'd like to ask a question. Does the Masonic Home High 12 organization cost International anything?
Yes. Yes, it
Okay,
does.
now what I suggest might be an idea is to waive dues and from a mandatory to a voluntary situation of those in the home, that those that are unable to pay aren't penalized. But there are some that have some assets or children that they know of that they'd like to attend a High 12 and do it on a voluntary basis, a donation. That basically keeps them in, keeps them that they contribute a little bit, to keep the organization going. And kind of this is a, show of goodwill. I'm sure that, you'd have probably more members that'd be interested since there's no dues that they would have to pay. It becomes an option.
Well, to address that, again, we don't bill the members. We bill the club. The club can choose to handle it whatever way they wish.
But does the club know that, or is inside the clubs of the Masonic Home, do they know that?
Absolutely.
Okay.
They're the ones responsible for collecting from the members or disadvantaged members. They remit the dues and the club pays it. That's been standard for ever and ever.
Okay.
In Pennsylvania, the club used to pay the dues for the members that were at the homes. When they asked the members to pay the $5, the club ended up folding because no one wanted to pay the $5.
Where was that located, Winton?
Our own Pennsylvania High 12 club in the Masonic Village.
Thank you.
Mr. President,
Yes.
I have a few members. They challenge every time, why do we have to pay per capita to international? Why do we have to pay per capita to our state? And they want to know what does international do for us? When I have members of my local club say, what is international doing for us? And now that we're wanting to increase it by 50% from $10 to $15, what do we say that we're doing for them for them to justify? Because most of the bylaws in Florida are such that it's the dues plus whatever per capita is. So when we change to per capita, it automatically, because of our bylaws, increases our dues, because in Florida, bylaws are written dues plus per capita. So what do we tell them?
The largest single expense is the liability insurance that we cover for all clubs.
Thank you, Kevin.
And that amounts to about $12,000 a year. For the bulk of that is for the trip and fall insurance.
May I address that for a second? If a small club of 10 members had to go out and buy an insurance policy, it would cost them a minimum of $400. High 12 International, at the last rate, I think was about $3 to $4 a member. So if you have a 10-member club, High 12 is buying that insurance policy for $30 versus you going out in the open market, which I was an insurance agency for 40 years. The minimum used to be $200, now it's $500.
Thank you.
Mr. President?
Go ahead.
Again. Also to answer Brother Eric's question, the other things that International does that we do not pass on to the clubs is when we make their dues cards, when we produce any kind of certificates, we don't charge for postage, we don't charge for the printing, we don't charge for any of the excess fees that incurred. Whenever a club wants to request birthday cards or any kind of sympathy cards, we print them out in-house. We send them again without charging any postage to the club. That's everything that the International Eats we do for our members. I did not know that until I began handling that. And that's something you should pass on to your clubs. If they want birthday cards or any kind of sympathy cards or get well cards, High 12 International will produce them and send them to your club secretary so you can pass that on to your members, again, free of charge, because we at the International cover that.
Mr. President, may I speak?
Please do.
I'm currently the president of High 12 Club number 720 Temple on the Hill in Youngstown, Ohio, and I'm past state president for the state of Ohio. I would suggest that before we move forward with this, that you put something in the High 12 in or a letter out or whatever, showing just exactly what the International does for the members. Because I run into the same problem with every time there's a possibility of a nickel raise. We charge $20 a year for membership. If we give 15 of it to High 12 International per member, obviously we're going to have to raise dues. And also with one of the other speakers, we have a meeting at a catering and they let us set up PowerPoint and I'm able to download and run programs and everything else. And so far, even through COVID, with the exception of 1 month, we were able to keep at least 10 people coming and they seemed to be happy. Now, they didn't like the gloves and they didn't like the mask, but the food at the catering, we promised them $10 a person and a minimum of 10 people in order for them to give us a free room. But I would just suggest, having been in High 12 for a while, there's a lot I don't know about what High 12 International provides. Perhaps nudging us with a little bit of information would improve the possibilities of you getting a per capita raise. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
I
I'd
appreciate,
like to know from our parliamentarian and our treasurer, who are very aware of these kind of things, if it would be possible to vote on this proposal to go forward to the International Convention, and at that convention to add amendments to it regarding those folks living in Masonic villages. Is that something that could be done, Winton or Kevin?
Well, right now you're under discussion
The amendment.
for amending the
Yes.
amendment. So you need to resolve that before you can move on to back to the amendment.
So Rick would have to accept some kind of amendment.
You either have to, go ahead, Winton.
Rick would probably have to accept some kind of amendment. We gotta, what we want to send to the convention.
Yes, we have an amendment on the floor, and I guess that was presented by Mark Noakes, isn't that correct?
No, I presented that, sir.
Yes, thank you, regarding not charging members of living in Masonic villages.
Oh,
Now,
right.
if that amendment was removed from the floor, we could then continue to vote on the proposal itself, and perhaps at the International Convention, an amendment could be proposed for those folks living in Masonic villages.
Right.
Mr. President, I believe you have.
No, that would take a separate amendment because the amendment is to increase. There would have to be a separate amendment to eliminate.
All right. Well, right now, I'm concerned about an amendment to the proposal of raising dues, the amendment which states that those living in Masonic villages should be exempt from international dues. I guess I have to bring that to a vote.
Yes.
Would someone like to see to it that that happens?
I call the question.
Very good. You know the right words. The question has been called. Do we have to vote on calling the question?
Call. Roll call.
A roll call vote should be. All right. In that case, Brother Tom Brethington, would you do a roll call of those in favor of the amendment to not allow, to exempt those persons living at Masonic villages to not pay international dues.
What? No, 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 no. The motion to be voted upon is the amendment to Rick's proposal. That has to be voted on first to either accept or reject it.
Correct.
It's a thumbs up or thumbs down vote.
Have I got the wrong amendment? Perhaps Brother Rick could restate the amendment.
No,
Rick, Rick's
Rick
amendment-
made the proposal.
Eric.
Noakes made the amendment. Is that right? I'd like to hear what the amendment is.
The original amendment?
No, the amendment.
Brother President, I believe it was Brother Boone who made the amendment.
I
to
beg
the
your
amendment.
pardon, Brother Boone. Can you restate the amendment?
Yeah, the amendment was to allow members of the Masonic homes to be exempted from their per capita.
Okay, that's what I said. That's what we're going to vote on.
And that is out of order at this point.
Amendments come before the proposal comes. Am I right, Brother Winton? First you vote on the amendment,
On the amendment.
full proposal.
The amendment is to increase, not to eliminate.
Brother President, Brother Treasurer, there was an amendment to do the increase. However, Brother Boone he wanted to make an amendment to Vice President Rick's proposal to exempt. So we have to vote on whether we're going to allow the exemption to take place as part of the amending the original amendment.
So for clarification, the current as it is $2 goes to High 12 International, and now you want to do away with that altogether?
Yes,
That's,
I think that's out of order for this
Right.
amendment. I would see that as a separate standalone amendment to our bylaws.
I suggest the person who made the amendment to the bylaw change withdraw his motion.
I agree.
Is that Brother Boone?
Okay, I will withdraw.
And was there a second?
Just withdraw and it's done.
Also
Well,
withdraw.
once the primary withdraws, that's correct.
In that case, what will happen is at the International Convention, we'll talk about this again. And we'll hash it out and we'll decide exactly what should be charged those folks that live in Masonic villages.
Mr. President, did we finalize the vote on the original?
No.
We have not. And
Oh,
I'd like to speak from Arizona about the original one. I believe you folks are aware of the fact that there was a very big movement in Arizona, which we narrowly defeated, of them pulling completely out of the international because.
No.
Small movement.
That is incorrect. It was to dissolve the association.
Yeah,
Totally different.
well, if the association dissolves, then so will the internet.
No,
I feel
no. They become independent clubs of High 12 International.
you will lose clubs.
No.
If you raise the thing, I think you will lose clubs in Arizona. That's my opinion as the president. Because they don't realize the benefit that they're getting out of either the association or the international. And if you raise the dues, I'm afraid you're going to lose clubs. And I'll just leave it at that.
You? If there's no further discussion, I think we should end the discussion. We'll have someone to use the magic words.
I call for the question.
Very good. Appreciate it.
Don't
Thank
call for
you.
the question. Brother
see, you're-
President, I move.
You see, your international president cannot call for a question. We need one of you members to do that for me, and I appreciate your help in this matter. Now, Brother Tom Brethington, our International Secretary, will
Name
call the
right.
roll and we'll vote on this matter.
It's Brotherton and he keeps Brotherington.
Brethren, for the roll call vote, I will call your names individually.
I'm here.
When you hear your name, you will either say yay or nay. Jerry Hamilton, President.
Yes.
Mike Haxton, First International Vice President.
Yes.
Mark Noakes, Second International Vice President.
Yes.
Brother Rick Santella, Third International Vice President.
Yes.
Brother Brother Kevin Hokirk Robinson, International Treasurer.
Yes.
Brother Walter Williams, past State President, Arizona.
No.
Brother George Kahn, Colorado.
Replaced by, oh, he's not here.
James Woodard.
James Warder. And
He
he's
is not present either. Brother James Davis, Florida.
Yes.
Brother John Corelli, Illinois.
Yes.
Brother William Short, Indiana.
You're gonna lose.
Yes.
Kevin
Brother
Hurt.
John Roberts, Kansas.
Yes.
What they're saying, the dues?
By raising
John,
capita up $50,
Brother,
50%.
can you please mute yourselves, please?
Norman Green.
That's all ladies.
John Breaker, Louisiana.
not present.
Brother Kenneth Simmons Jr., Michigan. Brother Frank Swallow, North Central Association.
Not present.
Brother Tom Hagan, Ohio. Brother Harry Beers, Pennsylvania.
Yes.
Brother Roberto Sanchez, proxy for Texas. Brother Roberto?
Unmute, Bruno.
Yes. Yes.
A representative from the independent clubs.
Yes.
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 Huh?
Myself, International Secretary, I vote yes.
International presidents, present.
I vote yes.
Roger Hanson, yes.
I didn't think we were on the governing board.
No. I'm here.
You're part of it.
Okay.
Quentin Hewitt, yes.
Yes.
Clemmer, yes.
Sidley Luan, yes.
Okay, the yeas have it, the yeses have it, and I so order, Brother Secretary, this will be voted on at our June convention. And thank you, brethren, for the discussion and your patience for getting through this. It's raising the rates is always a difficult thing, but the fraternity and High 12 means a lot to me, and so I would certainly have no qualms about paying an additional to be part of this.
Mr. President,
Ready?
someone had mentioned about maybe putting in the next printed High 12ian magazine, some of the benefits that the average High 12ian can expect to receive. I think the biggest thing I heard today that I was unaware of was the insurance, which I think is a huge thing. And I think having it spelled out that we can share and show with these individual club members will make our life a little easier on the local level. Thank you.
Is indeed huge. I don't know of any other Masonic organization that cares for their members and officers as we do in providing this insurance for them. All right, I'm going to move on now into committee reports. The first committee will be the endowment fund, and we'll ask one of the trustees of the endowment fund, Brother Anderson or Brother Hemphill, to give a report. Do we have Brother Anderson or Brother Hempel?
It's your mute button, boys. I have not received any of the bank statements for the past 6 months from Wells Fargo. And I've contacted Wells Fargo and they said they sent them, but I haven't got them.
I have not got them either.
Neither of these two trustees have received any reports from Wells Fargo.
Can they email them to you?
They said that they had emailed them to me, but I got hacked big time on my computer and every bit of communication I have, iPad, iPhone, everything. And I had to redo everything. So I've asked them, do they have the right email address? And they keep saying yes. And they repeat it back to me, and that's my email address, but I haven't got it.
Well, the reports are on part of the packet from High 12 International, from Wally's Fund and the Endowment Fund, the balances and the increase for the last year.
So, Brother Kevin, you receive those reports as treasurer. How do we make sure that the trustees get copies of these things?
Well, as far as I know, they were. They're supposed to be getting them. This is the first I heard that they aren't. I can contact the and see why. I'll be back to
Misfits
Monday. All I can say overall, the allocation of funds has not changed since they were opened by Donald Whistler. And last year was a tough year financially just because of what the markets were doing. I will say the endowment fund did close ahead $24,182.56. We were negative for a good portion of the year. Currently $233,000 and change in that account. Now, while I'm here, I'll do the Wally's Fund. It closed up $19,688 for the year, and it holds $179,000 and some change.
Thank you. How about the actual to budget review?
Okay, I'm starting on page 19. You have the expenses so far this year since July 1st on the first column. The budget is in the second column, and the over and under. I'll just look at the comments. The endowment fund dividends, which comes into the checking account for the budget, is on target. You see nothing in the 2021 labels. Those will go out in February. So our income so far this year is at $17,200 we received. There's nothing much in the way of expenses other than the usual. We had additional expenses because of the change in location of the secretary. I drove to California and picked up the stuff from Don Joe, and then to ship it all to California, it was like a 10 package shipment that went there of hardware and supplies and so forth and so on. We're just sitting and idling pretty much. There have been no expenses for travel this year. And, there's roughly $9,500 available for that, which will be used under the convention, assuming we can have an in-person one. Hopefully we can at that time. If you go to the very last page of it, page 23, the adjusted income from the year, because we run separate years, the adjusted income for the year would be $49,483. That's if everything comes in and pass per capita, et cetera. And our expenses should be at $44,819, or a possible positive budget for the overall year of $4,663.97. Any questions?
Hearing none, I'll ask you to give us a report regarding fundraising, address labels and pocket planners.
Mr. President, may I ask for a question to the trustees, please?
Go right ahead.
Gentlemen, you're commenting it's been 6 months since you received the statement. I'm curious, how long has it been since you've actually had a conversation with the financial advisor to find out his or her thoughts and plans and strategies?
I have not talked to anyone except Wells Fargo.
That would be the people.
Mr. President, this is Second Vice President. The trustees not getting their statements in where I sit, that's a huge red flag. Huge.
That plus they're not having any conversations with the person.
Because I've dealt with Wells Fargo at the international level, and they've been very consistent getting those reports out. Never had an issue getting the reports. Rick and I are in the same business, and if we're not getting statements, something's wrong.
Well, they never rose that issue to me. As you see, the executive board gets them every month. I post them on our agenda. I can send them for the past however many years they would like. I have them.
I would urge our trustees to contact the financial advisor and have a catch-up meeting with them and find out what their thoughts are and what their plans are going forward.
And I would follow it up with Brother Rick and with our Secretary and Treasurer, that they make that meeting via Zoom do something. We have the mechanism to do that, and I would do that immediately, personally.
Thank you.
We will handle it Monday.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Kevin, we're back to you asking about fundraising.
Okay. In the packet, I did provide the case December statement, so you do see that, and the savings statement, so you do see that. Our label campaign that was last year in February received $9,105 for donation. We had expensive of $3,495.61. So we have made a profit of $5,609.39. Thank you.
Very good number of profit.
I like it.
Yes.
Now, the High 12ian editor for this past year has been our Vice President, Mike Haxton. Mike, have you found a replacement?
Nobody's sucker enough yet, but I'm always open for a replacement on that. Actually, it's not that difficult once you learn how to set it up. Kevin has been very helpful to me over the last couple of issues to do that. But Kevin's kind of stepping away from it a little bit. But if there's anybody with a little journalism school experience or anything like that, or somebody who would like to get involved in it, I'm always open for the assistance. Most of the articles come from the clubs and from the states and from the elective officers, but occasionally there are, well, the main thing is getting it into order and getting it into readability. And it's a fun job in a lot of ways, except for, of course, the deadline. But I'm looking for somebody that very definitely.
Okay, and I promise to help whoever
Brother
we can get to do
President?
this. I've put together a number of the program books for our annual conventions, and I have the ability to do that, and I'll be glad to help anybody to put together those pages so they can be sent to the printer and we can have a High 12 magazine and a quality magazine. And we just get an editor to get the articles together and to start the pages. I'll make sure that they get properly paginated and in color printed out from a local printer. So it's not that difficult. You've got somebody to help you.
Brother
sir.
President, can we go back to the agenda? We did the
Did I
budget
miss the
review.
budget review?
Now we need to,
vote on the money spent so far.
no,
Approval of the
because
budget.
we did not have, because we did not have a
Yes.
convention, we did not have a
You're absolutely
budget.
right. And you know, I skipped that line. So therefore, I'll entertain a motion to accept the 21 budget.
I move that we approve the 2021 budget.
Is there a
I
second?
second it.
Is there any
I second.
discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, you can give a wave. Those opposed, put your hand behind your ear. The ayes have it, and so ordered, Brother Secretary.
Now, back into the fundraising. We did the pocket planner this year. Last year, we only had 247 people donate to it. And this is our more expensive fundraiser. This year, we made it the 100th anniversary and added a pen. And we took those 247 people that donated and then added all club secretaries, presidents, association secretaries and presidents, with the hope that they would see this. And for those that are meeting or in their Zoom meetings, whatever, you know, do the reminder that, you know, the 100th convention is coming up. And use it as a promotional item. So far, you know, we're in the green, 1,145. And it's been the direction of the executive board, as long as we're making money on something, to keep it up. But we're dealing with a funnel on those that donate to it. And it's coming to the point where, you know, we're going to have to make a decision to do this or come up with some suggestions of other fundraisers that could be more beneficial. That's all.
Mr. President,
Yes, sir.
I would ask a question about the pocket planners. This is something very visible that all of the members, if they got it, could then decide if they want to pay for it or just receive it as a gift from International, being about the only thing that all of them could regularly get annually for their membership. If you don't send it to them, they're not enthused about sending money in and getting one next year. I think the whole process of what we're looking at is a little bit upside down. that is something that each member could get, and I use mine. I use mine annually when I get it. But if we don't get it, then we're in a mind to use something else, and we will. If it isn't sent to them, they will not decide to pay for it or not.
I'd like to
And that
speak
number
to
will
that.
then, the number will then automatically continue to shrink.
I'd like to speak to that a little bit. One of the reasons, well, really the reason why we decided to only send it to people that had donated in the past, I remember whether it was 3 or 5 years, was that we were not making any money out of it because many just took it as a gift and didn't donate. When we stopped doing that and just put it to our regular donation people, we actually started making a few $1,000s a year out of it. Now, I understand your position there, but what we had been doing is sending the pocket planner out to the people who had donated and to new members of each year. Basically, as a fundraiser, that has made it more successful. I understand where you're coming from, but if we do send it out to everybody, it turns into a money loser.
That is correct.
Well, and for this year, we mailed out, I think it was just short of 600, like 593. Pretty much donations have stopped coming in, and we received 177 donations. So, you know, the return rate is very little, the percentage.
And that is the reason why we have only been sending it to people who have donated in the past.
We would have had so far it would have been 7,000 some dollars in the red on a fundraiser.
That would never work.
It would just have to be turned from a fundraiser to an expense, which would increase the budget. And that's why we stopped sending it to everybody. I think it was about 4 years ago,
Yes.
because we had a year that we only made a couple $100.
And then next year we made $5,000.
Yeah.
By not spending as much. That was the
Right.
result of not spending as much.
Sending to our target audience that
Targeted audience.
If it is only,
participated in the fundraiser.
if it is only a fundraiser, then I think we've missed the boat on getting something out to each member to let them know why they should continue to be a high 12ian.
Well, to that I'll respond. It goes into the high 12ians. I put it in the semi-monthly updates. It is available on the merchandise page for anybody to order. Again, I've sent, clubs have requested them. I have sent them a drop shipment of them. And then that person's name is added for the future. So I'm doing what we can do.
I'm certainly, I know that you are, Kevin, and we thank you for it. Now, I'm going to ask for Tom Brethington.
Let's
to
look
give
at the
a
facts.
report
With 3,000 members, it costs you $5 for each one. So that's close to $14,000 to mail them out. And you're not going to get a return of 14,000. So look at it realistically.
We can't do it for all the members. I'm going to ask Tom Brethington to give a report on the forms. He's talked to us a little bit about forms. And Tom, here's what I want you to do. I want you to talk about forms while your president takes a visit to the bathroom. I've been sitting here for 2.5 hours, and it's only so long that my kidneys can take it. So Tom, I'm going to leave it in your hands.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'll give you the count of what I've been doing for the past 2 months. I've sent over 435 dues cards out to various clubs, 15 rosters, 15 new member packets, again, to new various clubs, including the President's Club. We have lost about 37 members due to death or resignation or other problems. Again, I want you to stress to your clubs and to your associations that, and it's more work on me, but I don't, it's my job. If you guys want birthday cards, sympathy cards, get well cards, new member certificates, past president certificates, thank you certificates to your members, on your form 200A, let me know. I'll print them out and get them out to you. Again, it's free to your clubs. It's something that we as the International provide to you to try to encourage your members. We want to give them good quality certificates. I also have sent out 2 new club charters as well. So again, and new club packets. I've sent out 4, 5, 6 new club packets in the past 2 months, with another one going out to Florida once I get the gentleman's address, hopefully today. But yeah, reach out to me. Let me know what your club needs, what your association needs, and we'll send it out to you. That's all I have, Mr. President.
Oh, Tom, you did just the right amount of time. You did good there. Thank you very much. Now, our parliamentarian, Winton Hewitt, past international president, do you have anything to offer as a report?
Yes, just that we want to keep the clubs going, keep the state organizations up to date, and what the international does for the clubs. I understand a lot of people said they didn't realize that the insurance was there. This is all covered in the, if you go on the High 12 website, you will see all that. It tells you what the international is doing for the membership.
Thank you for reminding us, Winton. Now, Mike Haxton, one thing that's on our mind is Tom Brotherington, I beg your pardon, is monthly report filings. You and I are both interested in this. What do you have to say about it?
And this is where I become the mean guy. We've only received a return of average 27% of all of our Form 200As back. Out of the 100% of clubs that we have, only 24% have been sending me this information. I can't keep everybody's information up to date, your new members, the death or deceased of a member, new addresses. I can't do that if no one's sending me this information in. I need, as far as your association and clubs, go back to your club secretaries and let them know that the Form 200A must be filled out monthly, whether you meet or not, whether you meet virtually or not. I need to have that information sent to me. This is a way that we keep track and keep the history of your club alive in our files. If you're meeting virtually, let me know you're meeting virtually. A new member comes in, a brother changes his address, his email address, let us know. We've had 21 email addresses kicked back just for the invite of this Zoom, which is great. It's 21, it's not bad, but I'd rather have none kicked back. For the club secretaries who aren't able to make it today, you need to stress maybe an assistant secretary, somebody who has access to the internet that will get these emails sent out to them, that can receive them. I know we have a handful of hard copy Form 200A sent back to us. That's fine, but we'd like to reduce your club's overhead with postage. Just email it to me. It's simple. It's free. But we need to stress that we need to get 100% of our club information in. It's the only way that we can keep track of everybody and everything going on. That's all I have, Mr. President.
Brotherington.
Is there a question?
Yeah,
Tom and I both agree that this, and Kevin has had trouble with this over the years of trying to get the clubs to send in these monthly reports. Now, we know who you are. We know what clubs are sending us reports, and we know what clubs are not sending us reports. And those who don't send us a report, we're going to be on to you. And we're going to be asking you to please fulfill your duty as a member of High 12 and send us a monthly report. Now, one thing that you 61, there's 62 persons that can hear my voice at this time. You can go to your club meetings. You can see your secretary and you can ask him, did you send in the monthly report this month? High 12 needs that report. Please make sure our club is represented. Please make sure all our members are represented. The High 12 has the correct addresses, that we know how many members are in our club, so that we pay the right amount of money to High 12 every year. None of these things are possible without a monthly report. And it's not asking these elected secretaries to do that. And if they don't have a computer or don't know how to do it on a computer, then we need to find them an assistant secretary to help them so that we get monthly reports. And I'll be working with our international secretary on this very problem. And we're going to see if we can improve our number of how many clubs send in their reports.
Brother
Please.
Jerry. As far as the reason why the association secretaries are email is required on those reports is for them to keep track in their own jurisdictions what clubs are filing, what clubs aren't filing. And for those that aren't filing, for that association secretary to get after their clubs. Maybe there's a problem there with officers. Maybe the club hasn't met.
That's correct.
But it's for them to follow up with their jurisdiction to find out what's going on. They should know the best of what's going on.
Tom, how about it? We'll work with the state presidents to see if we can't get the more compliance here. Now, Mike Haxton is responsible for club expansion. Do you have anything to report there, Mike?
Nothing beyond what I've already talked about.
Thank you very
our
much.
Brothers in Bulgaria seem to be our most enthusiastic new club people right now, and I encourage them to go for it.
I agree.
But that's about it for now.
Thank you. Well, I'm very pleased that from Michigan, we have the chairman of the trustees of the Walcott Foundation, Michael Clark, is with us today. And Michael, we'd be pleased to hear from you.
Thank you, Brother President. First of all, let's make a little upbeat. I don't know, I haven't checked my tickets yet this morning, but I will tell you that if I won the lottery last night, I will personally pay for everybody's per capita.
Hey, brother Mike, there was $1 million ticket in Illinois, and I won't tell you who has it.
Oh, well then you've got to make the same commitment. Brothers, for some really good things I want to talk to you about very quickly, but I want to make a comment. You've been talking about things that to do with your virtual clubs. Donegal Club in Pennsylvania puts out this wonderful club report. They have been making use virtually of our Walcott Fellows. We had David Oken. Many of you were familiar for the last time we met at an international convention. He has spoke to their club virtually. They are having Daniel Burwell speak at their next club, along with our Walcott treasurer, Bob Morton. So if you're looking for a speaker, 2 suggestions. 1, go to www.walcottfoundation.com, and at the bottom of the first page, right below My Ugly Puss, you will find a video of 2 of our speakers from the last international convention. They are each 15 minutes long. You can use those, just click them on. Make sure you've got a amplifier to amplify the sound so all your members can hear it. Use those videos as a program in your High 12 virtual meeting. Very simple to do. Secondly, if you would like a Walcott Fellow or a Senior Fellow, to speak, or any of the trustees to speak at your I-12 club, let me know. I will help set it up for you. Donegal Club is doing a marvelous job in Pennsylvania of making use of Walcott Fellows. And that's what we want. So secondly, let's talk about money and let's talk about good things. Last March, we all know that we had a pretty big drop in the market. And the Walcott Foundation went down to 3.5 million. I will be happy to tell you that as of yesterday, close of business, the Walcott portfolio is currently at $5.88 million.
What a
The
change.
highest it has ever been. We have Brother Tim Breslin, who is our financial advisor in Pennsylvania, and our treasurer, Robert Morton, who takes care of keeping track of everything. By the way, we get a weekly report from our financial advisor. And they have been doing a great job. Brother Tim gives very, very special attention to our Walcott Foundation funds. And as you can see, we are doing very, very well. Along those lines, even though we have had a little, of course, a decrease in the amount coming in from some of the clubs, we're about 41% down from where we were at this time last year. The fact that we have not had some expenses will make up for that difference. But I specifically want to give my appreciation to all the clubs and to all the state associations who have continued to send checks into the foundation, and that has been keeping us going and keeping us busy. And that's the important thing. We are available to talk to any of your virtual state association meetings or to your club meetings. I've been on a virtual meeting with the United Kingdom. I'm sorry to see Brother Darrell left just a few minutes ago. He probably has time for dinner over there. But I have enjoyed talking to the brothers in the United Kingdom. When my wife and I were there just 2 years ago, we made an attempt to go visit their club, but we just weren't able to extend our stay long enough to do it. So the virtual meetings have some advantages. So real quickly, brothers, we have received 30 applications for a Walcott Foundation Fellowship. The application period ended January 15. We've received 30 of them. We are currently evaluating them. And as soon as we have done our evaluations, we will be meeting on the 27th of February virtually this year. Normally we meet in Washington, D.C. with George Washington University. And this year our guest would have been First Vice President Mike Haxton, who we were really looking forward to having. He is a big Walcott supporter, and we really appreciate all that Brother Mike does for us, but he will be part of the virtual meeting. George Washington University is not meeting as a university. They are doing all their classes virtually, and they are going to set up a Walcott Fellowship reception virtually this year. So we normally have about 40 of our senior fellows and current fellows attend live. We are looking for maybe even a better turnout virtually. But they are just wonderful. GW is just so good to us and take care of us very, very well. Once our selections are made and they have been accepted by the applicant, we will have them all posted their names on our Walcott Foundation website at www.walcottfoundation.com. I would look for that around April 1st. I covered that already. If any of the clubs are holding any money from Walcott Foundation contributions, even if you're not meeting, if you could send that money in to us, we would certainly appreciate it so we can get all the money in. Our fiscal year ends at the end of April. So we would like to get all that money in as quickly as possible. We have Walcott trustee elections coming up in both Zone 5, which is my zone, Michigan, Ohio, Illinois, Florida, and the United Kingdom. And in Zone 2, which is Brother William Wilkinson, which is California, Arizona, Hawaii, Italy, and Japan. If anyone is interested in running against this, we must have your letter and recommendations to the Walcott secretary by March 1st. If you're interested in doing that, get online, find the Walcott bylaws, and it tells you exactly how to go about that. They are on the High 12 International website under the Walcott tab. I want to make a special thank you to our 8 Walcott deputy trustees. And what these are gentlemen who, along with the 5 Walcott trustees, that we all have zones. Each one of us have about 5 states. In many of our states, we have a deputy trustee, and they are the ones who are really boots on the ground. They are visiting the clubs. They are answering questions. They are collecting money, and they are fantastic. I just cannot give enough credit to them. I publish their names and listings in the updates every other month. And if you need them, let me know. I'll be happy to send you the list. To everybody else, thank you, thank you, thank you for what you have done for Walcott, continuing to send money. We are doing very well as a foundation. Our applications are high quality again. We have had some very, very interesting applications this year, to say the least. And by the way, for the update for the High 12ian, I have asked all 10 of our current Walcott Fellows attending George Washington University to send me articles about what Walcott has meant to them. I just sent that out last week. I received 5 already. So I will be publishing a couple every other month in the update for you to read. And this is coming from the Walcott Fellows, how much they appreciate. And so many times, without the foundation's money, they could not be to where they are. Latest estimate, and believe me, it's just an estimate, is that we have over 50 senior Walcott Fellows working directly in Washington, D.C. at the various departments of the federal government. 50. We have one department where the head manager, the head supervisor, and one of the newest employees are all Walcott Fellows.
Wonderful.
If we ask, are we having making an impression and doing something good for our country? Yes, we are. So if that question comes up, it's to the positive. Finally, thank you again. Remember that all your Walcott donations are an investment in the future of our country. We've been doing it for 61 years, over 500 fellowships, a U.S. ambassador, so many members that have become heads of departments, heads of the FBI, of the Department of Justice, State Department. We have Walcott Fellows everywhere. So they are bringing the Masonic. They know the Masonic history. And yes, we have several members of Walcott Fellows that have become Masons, including a couple of our young ladies who joined the Eastern Star. And in Washington, D.C., Olivia, that spoke a couple years ago at our international convention, has joined the Eastern Star because she found out her grandmother was a member of Eastern Star. So she is already, my understanding, moving up the chairs. Any questions from anybody about Walcott? Hearing none, Mr. President, thank you very much for the time. Bless you, all of you. Stay safe. Keep going. We can survive all this, or as my mother always used to say, this too shall pass. Thank you.
Great job. Great job,
Thank you,
Coach.
Mike.
Very well done, Michael. You're my favorite Corvette driver. And I made a note of that $5.8 million. That's just a terrific report. I'm so pleased for you. Congratulations. And we'll see to it that the money keeps coming in. You say that it's about dinner time in England. Well, it's lunchtime in Philadelphia, and I'm ready for that. We've completed 3 pages of this 5-page agenda. We're at a point where I should ask about the database, the website from various people. Now, in the case of the database, I think it's in pretty good condition. Is there something to be said about this, Kevin?
No, we continue to use Wild Apricot, and I have no problems with it. They also host the website. We use their software for that. I've kept most stuff. Access to different things is 3 clicks or less. Anything that is sensitive requires the person to be logged in. So to see club locations, state association locations, the membership directory where you can look up High 12ians, you must be logged in. To be logged in, your membership ID has to have a valid email connected to it. And that's all I have to say about those
Thank you.
2 things.
Well, let's, how about Eric Kleinbach down in Florida? Can you say something about the monthly update?
Well, we've moved it to bi-monthly.
Good.
And, I try to coordinate with First Vice President Mike Hexton on the releasing of it from time to time, just so we don't have overlap. But it would be extraordinarily helpful that when we do get these articles, especially when we had a big flood last spring about COVID, if people will list not only their name, but their club and the location of the club would be really helpful, because it's time consuming to go through the directory and look up your name when I'm not familiar with you to try to find out what club you belong to. But the whatever information you send, I try to put it in a format that is useful for Brother Kevin, Brother Mike, so we can put together something in a timely manner. And I was just glad we were able to get the one out we did get prior to the mid-year, because I knew anything after the mid-year, nobody would really care about what happened at the end of last year. So that's why we got that one out when we did.
Good. Appreciate it. And we look forward to the next issue. The online forms, Brother Secretary, is there more to be said about forms?
I'll keep it short. Again, your information, brethren, if you keep us up to date, we're able to keep your information up to date. So just stress to your members, any changes, let us know and send out the online forms, as well as now with elections taking place and new brethren taking over. I need to know your associations and your club members, who's president and secretary. So again, we can get the right information out and know who is the president and secretary this year. Thank you.
Thank you. Kevin?
If I might add to that, we used to be able to, High 12ians could donate to the Wolcott Foundation. That wasn't an option through the various online donation avenues we had. I have changed that to take them directly to the Wolcott Foundation website.
Good.
Where they can do the directions directly.
Very good.
And get us out of the middle of it.
Kevin, what can you have to say about the merchandise you have at your place?
Well, we'll continue to sell it. I'm surprised at how much we have sold, considering most clubs being closed. So for that, I thank you. We haven't added any new items since the ladies' widow pin. Most all of the items that are out there are the same ones that have been there for 10, 15, 20, 30 years. And I'll just let that sit there.
Brethren, it don't mean a thing if you ain't got that bling. And Kevin's got the bling and a number of other high 12 pieces. It's all listed on our website. And if you'd like to buy it, you can buy it directly from Kevin in Arizona. Kevin, what do you have to say about IRS related items?
Okay, the international tax form for 2019 was filed. I still haven't gotten a invoice from the accountant, but I'll keep after him. That means he hasn't been paid for it either. In December, I sent out the annual validation to the EIN holders for the club information, their information, showing their last filing, when their filings are due, and a list of all their filings. And some questions that the meeting location, date, and time is correct. President and secretary names are correct. The EIN contact information is correct. That the 2019 990s should have been filed by now. And a reminder to file the next 990 after their date. And for those that are revoked in their nonprofit status, to get it reinstated, or at the minimum, file a 990 paper EZ. You're still required to file. On pages 35 to 30, no, 28 through 34 shows every club by association, their EIN, their filings, if they're revoked. The state association secretary got a copy of this so they can validate with their clubs and remind them as part of their duties to file. One state pays an accountant to do it for them. That's Ohio. For Arizona, I file for the Arizona clubs and send the certificate, the receipts onto the clubs. It takes 5 minutes to do once a year. So you can see who all has filed. Anybody can file for the club. You just got to create your own verified login ID. They verify who you are through your social security number, and then you add the EINs to your user ID to file. But to be able to file, the nonprofit status has to be intact. It has to be on the group exemption. If either one of those are missing, you get error messages. So the instructions are on the international website, how to do a filing, on how to apply for a reinstatement. That fee has gone up from $400 to $600 now. Any question? I will say so far I have gotten back 53 of the validations for the 140 that I sent out. They're due back to me on January 31st because I have a filing with the IRS on February 15th that I have to make. And you also have sample letters that went out to the this validation. So any questions on any IRS related concern? Okay,
Not a
moving
question, but a
forward.
thank you, Kevin, for working with Florida and
Uh-huh.
Central Florida High 12. Thank you for your help with us. We really appreciate it. You helped our secretary for 547 very much. Thank you.
You're welcome. Moving forward, delinquent clubs, if you go to page 35 for per capita, the first one is Baton Rouge. They paid their 2018-19, that was going to be the charter revocation one. So they kicked the can down the road until July 1st. Little River has been revoked. No response from that club again. So they are gone and been removed from the rolls. For page 36 is the 2019-20 per capita year. And again, I removed Little River. But you see the other clubs that are the 4 clubs, they're in arrears and owe $650. If they do not pay by July 1st of this year, then they will be in the revocation status. And then the next 2 pages, 37 and 38, show the current years that are a late pay. They're past due. All per capita is due upon receipt. There's no requirement for a club to have to meet in person and vote on it. That should be part of your budgets that is approved. Any questions on per capita? The
Thank you,
next
Kevin.
billing will be based on March 31st, monthly report or last received, and will be dropped in the mail on April 30th, as per bylaws.
Thank you, Kevin. Now it's my turn to say something about our international convention. On Thanksgiving Day this past year, my youngest daughter relocated from Philadelphia to Seattle, Washington, and she did a COD. COD in my family doesn't mean anything else but call on dad. And she did. She called on her dad, moi, to drive her automobile from Philadelphia to Seattle, Washington over the Thanksgiving Day weekend. And I, of course, what are you going to do when your youngest daughter asks for something like that? My wife and I packed up and we drove cross country. In our travels, on the second day of our travel, we were able to go to Sioux City, Iowa, where High 12 International was formed 100 years ago. And in Sioux City, Iowa, we went to the hotel that I've been contracting with, the Hilton Garden Inn, overlooking the Missouri River in Sioux City, Iowa. I was blown away. It is a wonderful hotel, a wonderful high-class, first-class, beautiful hotel that only charges $129 a night. I'm used to hotels charging 3 times that amount for the quality of the place that this is in Sioux City, Iowa. A lovely view of the Missouri River, high up on the banks, so that no matter how high that river gets, this hotel and the property is not going to flood out, but is always going to be there. Within walking distance of the hotel is a riverboat museum, which is pulled up on the landing, and you can see how the Missouri River was traveled by our forefathers. Also, right down the road from there is the place where the Lewis and Clark expedition spent their time on the way to open up the Great West under the regulations set down by them by President Thomas Jefferson. Sioux City, Iowa is indeed the place where E.C. Wally Walcott was the secretary of the YMCA, and it is the place where Wally Walcott is buried. And within a short van riding distance from that hotel is the burial site of Wally Walcott. And his headstone features this the same emblem that you see behind me. The triangle is on his headstone in the cemetery, not too far from the hotel where we'll be staying. Now, a year ago, I came up with the idea that for 100 years in our organization, we ought to have 100 people that come to our international convention. And I put out the challenge that we would have 100 people to come. And so for this meeting, I put together a gift for every one of you. It's a gift of a tie bar, which has been published and printed. And this tie bar is a tie bar for a long tie, a wide tie. It has the our high 12 triangular image, and it says on the tie bar, "We are 100." Now that means a double entendre. On the one hand, we're 100 years old. And on the other hand is, I want 100 people at the convention. And I don't care how I get them, if we have 75 members and 25 ladies or 50-50, I want 100 people to be in Sioux City, Iowa. So I want the 62 people who can hear my voice at this time to plan now that you're going to be in Sioux City, Iowa in June of this year. Now I have to tell you, the Supreme Council of Ancient Accepted Scottish Rite for the Northern Masonic Jurisdiction says that they're going to meet in Cleveland this year in July. And the triennial meeting of the Knights Templar Grand Encampment are going to meet in Minneapolis in August. I think High 12 can meet in Sioux City in June. It looks that way to me. I'm hearing today about your clubs that are starting to have meetings. I'm signed up, my wife and I are signed up to get our vaccination so that flu doesn't get to us. And we're going to Sioux City in June. And I hope that you'll be there too. Now the plan is this. We'll arrive in Sioux City and they have a van which will pick you up from the airport if you're going to fly there through Chicago. It can pick you up on Friday, the 17th of June. On the 18th, we're going to visit that grave site of Wally Walcott. We're going to do the museum there of the Lewis and Clark Museum. We're going to meet on the 19th, and we're going to have a wonderful banquet on Saturday night, the 19th. And you know, Sioux City is S-I-O-U-X. It's named for the Sioux Indians who lived in that territory. And I've arranged through the National Indian Foundation of Iowa that they're going to send us a speaker, a full-blooded Sioux Indian who's going to be a speaker at that meeting, as well as the Grand Master of the state of Iowa. So, brother, we're going to have a wonderful convention, and the convention materials will be sent to you shortly. Sign up early. Everyone who came to this meeting today gets one of these tie clips. And when you get this, but the way you get this tie clip is you come to the international meeting in June. I'm not mailing it to you. You have to come and pick it up, and it'll be yours. And you can wear it with your high 12 tie that you can pick up from Kevin. All you have to do is send him a check. I hope that you'll enjoy our international convention, and all the details will be coming to you shortly through our website. Now, the High 12ian magazine, the deadline is when, Brother Michael?
March 15th.
March 15th is the deadline for articles to be sent into the High 12ian magazine. And we're looking for a new editor. And I promise to help to get that magazine in proper form so it can be printed and mailed. The 2021 labels. Shall we continue to send those out to all of our members? Yes or no?
Yes.
Yes, we're making
We
money.
should send them out to all of our members and hope that they will make a contribution.
Mr. President?
Question?
Yes, Mr. President. For the digital update, can we have something in by like the 21st of February so we can get a digital one out while Mike's preparing the larger print version?
Okay.
Or do
What
we
do you
want
want
to
to do
wait?
there, brother? Eric, is February 21 your deadline to receive materials?
I'd like to receive material by February 21 so I can get something turned in so we can have a digital prior, with enough lead time before the printed version.
I've made a note and you'll get something from me. If I don't send in something to the monthly update, then people ask me, how come you didn't send something into the monthly update? I didn't know anybody read the monthly update, but these people have come to me and asked me about it. So this time I'll send you something and see what they have to say. I'd like to see a response for the monthly update.
Um, Brother Mike Hexon, that doesn't interfere with you, does it?
No, it shouldn't. And if you have something that's worth the magazine, we'll reprint it in the magazine too. I would like to actually, March 15th is a deadline. I'd like to get stuff in before March 15th because I've got a deadline too. So by statute, the magazine has to be out 60 days before the international meeting. So the more time you give me, the more time I have to get it into shape, and the less time folks like Kevin and Jerry have to take a look at it and correct my errors.
We'll do that very thing. Now, in the way of new fundraising ideas, the executive committee has thought that we need a new necktie. We have an older necktie. Let me see if you can see it here. See, it has our High 12 emblem on it. And Kevin has some of these, but we've had these for some time, and it might be a good idea to have a new design of these neckties. So we're looking into manufacturers who can give us a limited number. We're not in the position of the Scottish Rite or other organizations who buy these neckties by the 1,000. We have to buy the neckties by the 100. So we're looking for somebody who can give us a custom-made necktie by the 100 and use that as a fundraiser.
Made in USA, please.
That might be a little difficult.
I think our Bulgarian brothers are.
Brother Fleming,
Brother Plemon, that's better.
there he goes.
Hey, brother, Mr. President,
Ready.
is it possible we might have people do some submissions for ideas for a tie to send to you to look at?
Very good idea. Your executive committee would be pleased to receive those. Anybody with new ideas for fundraisers, because we're getting behind. All right,
Can I
we're
can I make a
toward the
proposal
end,
for the
which-
fundraisers?
Which I want to call on the
Yes.
past international presidents, and I didn't do.
Brother
Go ahead.
President, we have a
Brother
proposal
President.
for the fundraisers.
Okay, I'll listen to that.
For us, for every type of activity we do, it doesn't matter whether it's another social organization or a business. Mugs, basically coffee mugs, tea mugs are always a good opportunity because they cost very less in order to be produced, and you can sell them for whatever price you want because you have your logo on them. And it's a good opportunity. And also glasses for wine, stuff like that, that you can have for type of events that you organize, so you can show off basically when someone comes to your office or on your desk and stuff like that. Yeah.
Good suggestion. If we do this, I'll make sure we send a dozen to Bulgaria.
No problem at all.
That'll be good. I didn't do my due diligence and to make note of the past international presidents who are with us. So I hope that they will excuse me if I skip someone. I don't believe that Cliff Bingham is here, but I know that International President 92 to 93, Ralph Clemmer. May we hear from you, Ralph? Are you still with us, Ralph? I'll come back to you if necessary. The president 1998 to 1999, 98 to 89. I guess that's Stanley Gardner. Stanley, are you out there?
No.
Not out there. I don't think Bill
Ralph
Meyer is
dropped.
with us. Is Roger Hanson with us?
I'm with you.
Wonderful. We'd like to hear from you.
Okay, I'm looking forward to your 100-year anniversary in Sioux City. And we hope to see 100 people there.
Good.
I'm working on helping you out in that regard a little bit. Our High 12 club in Sioux Falls, South Dakota, just 90 miles from Sioux City. We have not met since last March, and we had probably, I think, 4, 5, 6 individuals with COVID. And one of our individuals, his wife passed away last week, so we had a funeral for her. I have visited with just about every member of my club, and they're still raring to go whenever we can get back to meeting again. Right now, the Grand Master has everybody shut down pretty much. And in South Dakota, we're being pretty quiet. It's snowing out. We're expecting about 6 inches of snow today, which is normal for this time of the year. We send greetings to everybody, and we hope you all have a prosperous 2021. And we'll see you in Sioux City.
Thank you very much. Nice to hear from you. Nice to see you today. Now, Merv Harris had a birthday this past week, but I don't think he's with us today. Sid Wan, you there in Arizona?
He dropped off.
All right. Don Whistler has been to see his doctor, and he's not with us today. Jim Parker, are you with us?
I am with you.
Wonderful.
I'm very pleased to be with you, Mr. President. I would like to also say that I very much appreciate this format. And with the 58 still remaining participants, I do believe that that's about as large a number for this time of year that we ever get, and would suggest that maybe we make this a permanent process. And as it catches on, we will do even better and better without any financial burden. Would like to think about that. Coming from Ohio, we're doing quite well here, and I thank you for the opportunity.
Winton Hewitt, 2014 to 2015, the guy that twisted my arm into this position. You have anything to offer?
Mr. President, I want to congratulate you on this meeting and also with your programs that you have initiated during your term and what you have set for the 100th anniversary celebration in Sioux City, Iowa. And I hope that I will be able to attend. And I want to thank all those that were with us today.
I would think, Winton, that either your Caddy or your Lincoln would make it that far. One of them would make it. Okay, we don't have Jerry Seville or Ron Woods or Bill Haynes, my friend Bill Haynes, but we do have the immediate past international president, Jonathan Dilley. Jonathan, what do you say?
Thank you, Brother President. I just wanted to say thank you for all of our brethren that are here today. This goes to show that even in difficult times like a pandemic, we can all come together and we can shine as Freemasons. This is really wonderful to see everybody. I know that something to add to what Jerry had said earlier, when we were in Illinois and he made that goal of 100 new amazing, or 100 brethren to come to his convention, I thought to myself, my gosh, that means I need to get to work and make sure that we also have some new members coming in. And so I pushed our international team to do the best they could with the President's Club or with anything they could. And I set a personal goal for 100 new President's Club members, and we had other international officers that set goals. And I not only met my goal, but our other international members of the team met their goals. So brother Jerry, as a gift to you, I went out and I personally brought in 100 new President's Club members, and our international officers also went out to bring in new President's Club members. That was our gift to you. And it was my intention at the international convention that we would have had at the Queen Mary, had we had the opportunity to do so, to present that to you and have them all rise during that convention and receive the official, unofficial installation as a new member of High 12 and give them the grip and the sign and the word and all those fun things. Unfortunately, we'll probably have to wait until your convention to do so if we're able to meet in person, because I would still love to see as many of our new President's Club members and other new members that have joined High 12 during the last 2 to 3 to 4, if they haven't ever had that opportunity to receive that grip and that word and have that fun experience, it would be great to see them all rise and simultaneously receive that at your convention, brother. Also, I'm extremely proud of our Bulgarian members. We were able to, in the process of bringing in new President's Club members, at the Conference of Grand Masters, we brought in several new President's Club members in different countries. We had some of them on the call today. Some have had to leave the call. We had Mexico, I believe, on the call earlier, also a President's Club member. And then we had Bulgaria, who got very excited and are actually actively working to make High 12 a very strong part of what they do in Bulgaria. So these are positive and amazing moves forward for High 12. And it's the collective efforts of our international team. And you want to know what our international officers do for all of our state associations, for all of our members of High 12? We keep High 12 moving, alive, exciting, and we reach out to even other countries, as you can see, and we keep High 12 growing. And that means that your membership is more valuable. So we're always working hard for each and every one of you, brethren. And I agree with our brother Parker, that past international president, that if we can have an opportunity to maybe incorporate this type of technology in with our physical setting, we may be able to exceed 100 in the presence at that convention. So that might be difficult, but we'll see how that can work. Thank you very much. I appreciate each and every one of you. I've enjoyed my time in traveling around the country and meeting with you in your state associations and individually. I wish I would have had a chance to say something at the International Convention and at the Queen Mary, but I'm sure I'll get a little bit of voice today and at your convention. Brother President, thank you for your leadership, and thank you for all the brethren that make High 12 possible.
Thank you very much.
Joseph Sanesteban is next.
Thank you. Didn't know you were there, Joe. Hello, Joe. Is he with us?
Greetings.
Well,
how are you doing?
Speak up.
You have anything to
Well,
offer,
I'm alive and well. I'm in
Good.
Tucson now. Yeah, I had to get out of the cold weather. So on my way down here, I was talking with Kevin, and I said, hey, you know, if you need anything or if you need any help, give me a call. Well, those of you that know Kevin know that's not what you say to him, because I wound up being vice president here before I even landed. So, so I'm alive and well, and I'm still very active with High 12. I don't miss the international level because I think the state level will keep me busy. I'm looking forward to the new challenge. I have a change of address on the website, but that's where I'm staying right now with my son. There will be a permanent change of address in about 2 weeks once the closing on my house goes. It was a little rough getting out of Illinois, probably because of the politics. But other than that, I survived. I miss the people in Illinois, including Mark, who's still awake, I think. And, but I'm looking forward to the new group of folks. As a matter of fact, I have a meeting this coming Tuesday at the lodge that John Wayne was raised in. And I'll be putting my petition into that lodge. It's Marion McDaniel, lodge number 56. And I'm looking forward to that. Plus, I'm also active with the National Sojourners down here. So I just still don't know how to say no and mean it. Other than that, I'm doing fine. It's nice to see all you faces that I haven't seen in a while. Y'all take care of yourselves. Please be careful. And that's it from Arizona.
Thank you, Brother Joe. Nice to hear and see you today. Now we're going to ask for final comments from the executive committee.
I wore this just to you guys.
Beg your pardon? We're asking for final comments from the executive committee, and we'll start with International Treasurer Kevin Hochkirk Robinson.
Okay. Just a reminder that anybody that's interested for running for an office at High 12 International needs to get their applications in to the secretary by 3/15, being that's the date for the High 12-ian. So they can be published. Anything after that date can be done from the floor at the convention. Also, in that High 12-ian, the bylaws amendments are published. The report packet and the video will be posted to the High 12 homepage. And I do recommend that the semi-monthly email from semi-monthly back to monthly. COVID in Arizona is still rampant. We were 28% on Monday. It's now down to 20%. I'm one of those people that my last meeting I went to was December 11th. We still had 7,000 new cases and 169 deaths today. Be glad we don't live Masonically in North Carolina. The Grand Lodge shut down all organizations there back in March or May it was. And they have also prohibited any North Carolina Mason from participating in any virtual meeting. I mean, they really just clamped it down.
Is that South Carolina or North?
Yeah, that's South Carolina.
South Carolina.
South Carolina.
Okay.
And the only neckties that are available with the High 12 logo on it are from Sid from his Pinworld website. I do not have any and
Thank
never have.
Thank you. You said that before. I keep forgetting. Okay, thank you very much, Brother Treasurer. Now we'll call on the International Secretary, the new kid on the block and hardworking, Tom Brotherton.
Thank you, Mr. President. Also, to build off of Brother Kevin, you also will need support letters for your club and for if you are with an association, from your association as well. That way it can get passed on. We need to know that you will be supported. Also, just as a reminder, make sure you fill out your Form 200As every month, whether you meet or not, whether you meet virtually or not. And finally, make sure you fill out the Form 200B. That way I know who is the president and who is the secretary. I wish everybody the best. Please stay well and stay healthy. And I look forward to seeing you in Sioux City. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you. Thank you for the good work you do. Our third International Vice President from New Jersey, Rick Santella.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'd like to congratulate you on your successful meeting today. I'd like to thank everyone for their attendance and participation. And I'd also like to ask all the state association officers to get engaged or stay engaged with your club officers and associations. It has been shown that cooperation and sharing of new ideas does expand club memberships, and it also promotes cooperation and great fellowship. Thank you all and stay safe.
Thank you, Rick. Representing the Illini and the state of Illinois, our second Vice President, Mark Noakes.
No, the only thing I have to say would be for the club levels and state associations, reach out to the widows, because a year or so ago we had a widow's pin made out for the widows, and I've had the honor and humbling opportunity to deliver a couple of those, so make sure you do that. And in regard to past International President Brother Dilly, we do have the opportunity to do a hybrid meeting in the future. At my particular Masonic Lodge in Illinois, we have our 12 officers meet, and online we have anywhere from 20 to 25 people online. We've been able to streamline that very efficiently, and especially where we're going to have international members at the annual convention. It can be done very easily now on the Zoom platform. Brother President, well done. Look forward to seeing you in person in Iowa. Thank you.
Thank you, Mark. Representing Andy Reid and the Kansas City Chiefs is our first International Vice President, Mike Haxton.
You're right. The Chiefs are my boys. And for your information, our young man who got his bell rung last week is fine. And Pat Victor Mahomes will be playing in the game. I had quite enjoyed this meeting today, and I think a lot of other folks did too. It's nice to get together even on Zoom, and this actually turned out to be pretty successful. But I sense a little bit of a pent-up demand to have our meetings in person. I know I miss you guys, and I miss being able to go around to see you guys. So I'm looking forward to Sioux City. I hope it comes off without a hitch. We are working on our midterm for next year, and the time and place on that, at least tentatively, is January 22nd, and that will be in Houston, Texas. Vaccinations preferred. And by that time, we should all be pretty well vaccinated and safe from each other. So looking forward to a little more activity.
Appreciate it. We appreciate what you do. Brethren, your international president gets the last word here. And as we close, I tell you that the one concern for the International Convention is costs.
1 million.
These international conventions are
Oh my
been
God.
paid for in the past by having a program booklet. I don't see how it's possible to have a program booklet at this time, in that our clubs are not meeting, and we can't call upon our clubs to send us ads for a program booklet if the club isn't meeting to even to pay their bills. We make another few dollars by having tours, and I hope to have a large number of people to come and take these tours with us, and we'll pick up a few dollars there. We'll also pick up a few dollars by having folks pay a registration fee, and to buy their banquet tickets will help us. Our costs for the International Convention includes $400 a day for the meeting room that we'll be meeting in. The hotel is kind enough to give us a free hospitality room, but that hospitality room requires that provide the food and the drink in that hospitality room, which hotel expenses for that kind of food and drink gets expensive. Your international president, moi, will see to it that he has a suite in which there will be hospitality also. So you can spend some time in the free hospitality room to sit and relax, and you can come to the suite for the international president and enjoy food and drink there. And I have a chairman for the convention who's going to take care of all that food and drink, and that's past International President Bill Haynes. I've done some work for him with the Sojourners Association, and so he's going to return the favor by being our chairman for the hospitality room in Sioux City. I hope all of you can attend. I think we owe it to our founder. We owe it to the international presidents who've gone before us. We owe it to high 12ers around the world to find out exactly where is Sioux City, Iowa. I found it this past Thanksgiving weekend. I know you can find it. The airlines can find it because they all fly there from Chicago. And although it's some miles from Philadelphia, I found that in the second day of travel, I was in the hotel at Sioux City. So if you like to drive the way I like to drive, or if you like to be a passenger the way Bill Hartman likes to be a passenger, you can come along with me, and I'll take you to Sioux City, Iowa. I do appreciate what you've done for me this year, the nice things that have been said today about the running of this meeting. I appreciate being your international president. I hope that this virus goes away and is never seen again, and that I can represent you at meetings of your local high 12s and state associations, as well as my own Pennsylvania Grand Lodge, Grand Chapter, Grand Council, and Grand Commander, of which I've been an officer elected and appointed in all these associations. And I hope that they too will be open and can meet your international president for their meetings in the future. With that, I'm about to close this meeting of High 12 International, and I call upon our international chaplain, the Reverend Bill Hartman, to offer a closing benediction.
Let us pray. Heavenly Father, we give you thanks for your presence with us always. We give you thanks for the hard work that the officers and members of this International High 12 have done, especially our president as he leads us. And we hope, dear God, that you will take away this pandemic, that we may all get together again and enjoy each other's fellowship. We thank you for the hard work of the officers, and we give you thanks, O God, as you will guide and direct us through this day. In your most gracious name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Oh, mote be. By the power invested in me as the International President of High 12 International, I declare this midwinter meeting closed. Sine die.
Good luck.